The Suns and the Bulldogs in the top end here on Grandstand.
Ah, you're here for the fortune-telling. Please sit down. I feel your need to discover music, to be guided and surprised by knowledgeable and likable experts. In your future, I see the ABC Listen app. I see you joyously grooving to Triple J and Double J, chilling with ABC Jazz, bird scooting on ABC Country, and expanding your musical palette on ABC Classic. Your reading is complete. No, I don't want your money. The ABC Listen app is free. Now go and download the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2023 Sir Doug Nicholls Round. Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Sir Doug Nicholls Round comes to Larrakia Country. Welcome to Marara Oval in Darwin. The continuation of round 11 of this 2023 AFL season on ABC Radio. Quentin Hull with you in warm conditions as Gold Coast and the Western Bulldogs are, as we speak, just standing arm in arm with a smoking ceremony at ground level, going through the formalities of Sir Doug Nicholls Round, and fantastic that we're back here in Darwin, which hosted the featured Dreamtime game a couple of years ago. But a big game tonight between these two teams, with the Dogs on a 5-game winning run, ensconced in the top 8. They've beaten Adelaide, Carlton, Greater Western Sydney, Hawthorn and Fremantle since they went down to Port in round 5. 7 wins, 3 losses for the Bulldogs. And what of this Gold Coast Suns season, which is at a very similar point to where it was last year after 10 games? They've got 4 wins and 6 losses. They've won 3 of their last 5, but the wins have come against West Coast, Richmond and North Melbourne. They've gone down, albeit narrowly, to Melbourne, and were steamrolled late in Q-Clash by Brisbane last week to the tune of 43 points. At selection, Ben Long and Joel Jeffrey coming in, a couple of territory boys, and Tommy Berry, who was the sub last week for the Suns, is in the team starting tonight. Joe Farah is the sub for the Gold Coast Suns. And the Western Bulldogs, Lockie McNeil, who was the sub last week in their win over Adelaide, he's now an in outright to the team, with that big news during the week that Jason Johannesson is going to miss up to a couple of months with a hamstring injury. The sub for the Doggies tonight is Mitch Hannon. It's great to be alongside Rod Jamieson and Joel Bowden. Would have been alongside old mate Rob Cross, but having to fly solo. Crossy hopefully will be with me next week. He's been struck down ill. So, Jamo, you ready to talk? Good to have you on board, mate. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Good to see you. Yes, regards to Crossy, recover well. But two extremes. I was at Ballarat last week calling Adelaide and the Western Bulldogs, where I arrived at the airport. It was 12 degrees when I arrived, and by the time I got to Ballarat, Joel, it was 7. So, yeah, Jason Johannesson limped off, I think, late in the 3rd or early in the 4th. I think the really bad hammy, and he'll be out for quite some time. The Bullies looked good, and they had plenty of shots on goal. The margin could have been more significant, but a week later, here we are, up on the top of Australia. Beautiful, warm weather, and Joel walks in and says how cold it is.
So great to have the former Premiership pro and a man who played more than 250 games for Richmond. I don't know, when you come to the football, Joel, are you a member for Johnston, or are you Northern Territory Team of the Century member? Which is it, Joel? You cover a few bases here. Nice to have you on board.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I hope I'm just a Territorian here to support, the Suns and the guys who are playing, Joel Jeffrey, Rosie, and Long. And I'm also a bit of a Bulldog supporter, because my brother Patrick played 50 games for the Bulldogs, and so we followed the Bulldogs with interest for many a year. Hopefully I'm just a punter, but maybe I'd like to remember as a Richmond footballer who made the Hall of Fame and played 14 years in what wasn't a great era, but have watched them go from strength to strength over the last 5 or 6.
Yeah, of course, 2-time All-Australian as well, and 2-time Richmond Best and Fairest. Great to have Joel Bowden and Rod Jamieson with me up in the box. And, of course, in this part of the world, there is only one man that can keep his eye close to the benches. That is the great Charlie King. From Dreamtime at the G last week to more familiar circumstances tonight. Charlie, welcome to you. How are you doing?
Yeah, welcome to the team. Good to see you all here, Hugh. Fantastic game. Richie Fijo did that welcome to country, and it was just fantastic, so cultural, and meant so much to this crowd here. They gave them a big round of applause as they walked off the ground. 8,000 tickets sold for this. They've got that already. We're not like the MCG where people buy tickets and don't turn up. When they buy tickets, they turn up. I think a big crowd here, in excess of 8,500, I reckon.
Good on you, Charlie. And as ever, you're a part of our broadcast. To get in touch, 0437 774 774. That's 0437 774 774. We'll keep you across the Eagles and the Dons. If you want to hear that, look for the AFL Extra button on the ABC Listen app. About to have this opening bounce. Quick tip, Jamo and Joel?
I've looked at them closely. I'm going to go the Gold Coast here.
Winning form's good form. 5 in a row. The Dogs will make it 6.
Let's do Darwin footy as English gets over the top of Witts for the first tap down. But it's rowed by Anderson, and the Suns will get the first clearance. He hand passes it to Rowell. Rowell from the centre of the ground kicks forward. Casbolt the target. Gardner makes the spoil for the Bulldogs, and at ground level it's rowed by Richards. Hand passes to Liberatore. Gets a hand pass to O'Brien. And from halfback he kicks to the wing. And Ugle-Hagan takes the mark in front of the main grandstand. Mac Andrews got the early assignment on the former number 1 draft pick. Very short chip infield on the 45 marked by Libba.
Mac Andrew only in his 10th game. Big job.
And he had a few moments last week against the Lions as Liberatore on his right boot kicks to half forward, fumbled by Ugle-Hagan, rowed by Andrews. Suns ball. Hand pass to the wing. Bailey Humphrey, this exciting youngster, runs to the wing and kicks the Suns inside 50 over the head of King. And Liam Jones takes the mark for the Bulldogs. Just defensive side of centre half back. He chips it to right half back where Oscar Baker takes the grab. 28 degrees as I walked in. Maybe it's dropped down a little degree or two. I'll have to check the weather apps. And Joel's shaking at us, Jamo. He is doing all the Territorian things. Kick to the wing gathered on the half volley by Barley Smith. Hand pass to Baker. High kick towards half forward for the Bulldogs. 2-on-2 contest goes to ground. Ugle-Hagan roves out the back and slots it down the throat of a leading target. English in the left forward pocket. He'll have a shot from 35.
A quick observation, we've got a lot of Bulldogs players wearing wristbands. We know that even though it's our dry season and it's cool for Territorians, it is still warm for the players and they will sweat, and by halfway through the second quarter there'll be a lot of perspiration on the ball. I
know Roland Garros starts this weekend. It's got a bit of French clay tennis about it, the look for these Bulldogs players.
Guy Bourget.
English 45 metres out as he strikes it on his right boot and across the face. It is a behind. And the first score of the night is a minor to the Bulldogs. What a day of upsets we've had if you've just joined us. Hawks by 10 over the Saints. Dockers by 7 over the D's. And Greater Western Sydney has just completed a 9-point upset over Geelong at Cardinia Park. That final score, if you missed it, 12-9-81 to 10-13-73.
And Aaron Norton's always in the headband. Bit of Vitas Gerolitis. We're going to pull a name out too, the tennis.
Interestingly, Jamo, he hasn't got wristbands on, no. As the Suns go short from the inbound.
He's going to do a handstand and doesn't want to get his eyes.
Kick to right half back marked by Andrew. Kicks for Humphrey on the wing. Spoiled away by Duray. Got a hand pass to Smith. Dogs ball. Hands it out back to Bontempelli. Hand pass goes to Williams at left half forward from 60. Slots it into attack, and the short pass marked by Scott. 45 out slightly left of centre.
The big challenge for the Gold Coast tonight. There's no doubting their ability to win the football. It's when they've got the football, they don't use it as well. They're in the bottom tier of the ladder in terms of where their efficiency lies. And if they continue down that path tonight, the boys will just eat them up.
Anthony Scott, right on 50, left foot strike. He's given that everything. It's the first goal of the night. Beautiful kick. And the Dogs are on the board in Darwin. 1-1-7-0. And we have played, as I refined the scoreboard and the details here, always come back to these venues you work out. Where is it? There it is, 3.5 minutes played in this first term, Joel, on the biggish screen on the outer side.
We can call that the new scoreboard. It's in front of the Wanderers Football Club. We've moved from the centre wing over to the right half forward pocket in front of the Wanderers Football Club. And a good kick. Left footers, we love left footers in my family, so they always kick truly. But there are more and more players showing up now with these wristbands. They're everywhere now that I think about it. Liam Jones has got them on. Bont's got them on. Ugle-Hagan's got them on. And as you said, Jamo, Aaron Norton's got one on his head.
Is there any of the Gold Coast players that got them on? Which time to have a look around? Which
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I had a look in the warm-up, and certainly they didn't have them on then. Back in the middle, it's English wristbanded, beaten by Witts at the tap down. Got it down to Rowell, hand pass to Humphrey. Kick is smothered. Ricochets to Baker of the Bulldogs in the middle. He'll get the clearance, drive them forward through the hands of Ugle-Hagan. Out the back of the pack, half a chance for Norton. Can't pick up. Powell is tackled, and
Holding the ball.
Says,
Holding the ball. Ugle-Hagan's got it.
Wow. Weather's hot here, so too those decisions, so it seems.
just the anticipation there too, wasn't it, by Ugle-Hagan? The football goes out the back. It's just the unfortunate that Andrew Mack would have liked to see him just get a fist to it as opposed to just go to the contest. Didn't really impact it at all. Footy goes over the back once again.
Absolutely smashed him in that tackle.
Pretty right.
So, Jamara Ugle-Hagan, 25 metres out. Not much angle. Left boot true. Dogs get the jump. 2-1-13 plays nothing. And it's the Bulldogs with a fine start in Darwin.
Wow. It's like a mulligan. I went for the Gold Coast straight away, and we're a couple of minutes in.
You want to get off already, Jamo?
But let's go back to the centre square. So the ball comes out, the Suns get it, but Liberatore puts on a fabulous smother, and a smother, as we know, is worth 2 kicks. The turnover goes down the other end, another, inside 50, good tackle, and they're able to get on the board. 2 goals, 1-0, and I think the ball's only been down into the Suns forward 50 twice.
A number of the Suns players were forward. They were off, weren't they?
They were off and racing.
So they got caught behind. Disposal efficiency, 94% the Bullies, 64 for the Gold Coast just at the moment.
If we were doing Norton lookalikes, then I'd have him as the lead singer of Wah Wah Nee, says Paul, Gary and Ruley from Adelaide. Centre bounce again. First hands, Gold Coast in the middle. Anderson's hand pass stolen though by Bontempelli. Tackle, but got a hand pass to Liberatore. Bulldogs get the break. Hands it to Dale running off half back. Chip to Jones. Marks it 2 kicks from goals. That's Hardy. And he kicks it wide. It's marked by Norton. On the boundary, left half forward, 60 out. Norton kicks the Bulldogs into attack. Lots of players near the boundary in that pack. Waitman was his target. Defensive spoil gets it out of play.
And it's the advent of this modern game, right? Jomo, when you and I were playing, that would have gone the top of the square.
Yeah.
Now it goes into the pocket. They get a ball up. They get a throw in. They get to set up again and go. And look, there's 36 players in the forward half of the Western Bulldogs. It's just changed dramatically in the last 10 years.
Attacking 50 again for the Dogs. Boundary throw in. Tapped boundary side of the pack. McNeil gathers for the Bulldogs, but Andrew wraps him up. And we'll see another neutral on this gorgeous night for football. English and Witts tangle. Witts gets it. Hand pass to Swallow in the back pocket. A rush clearance for the Suns. Well, it's taken by Williams. Must have been touched, no mark. He then finds a passage there, but bang on goal! And launches it through for the Dogs' third. Just found some space, Bailey Williams. And the Bulldogs have exploded from the blocks in the territory. 3-1, 19-0 through 7.5 minutes.
Just the work that you've got to get down, isn't it, too? Once again, the Bulldogs win the football, clean possession, 3 or 4, deep in the pocket. You touched on Joel as well, but you have the ability to actually tackle and hold. He's done a 360. That's almost holding the ball, isn't it, too? If you haven't disposed of it when a player's done that, and then to be able to let him go, to be able to have then a shot on goal, great start for the Bullies.
It was a 360, Jamo, you're right, but he had good momentum in the tackle, so he was able to sort of shake the hips a bit. He comes out facing the goals and puts it straight through.
Yeah, a question from Michael at Wyndham. He's loving the commentaries, asking about why the players are wearing the wristbands. Well, obviously because of the humidity of these climbs. Centre bounce. Bailey Smith comes through to win the mop-up for the Dogs and get a clearance to the Doggies into attack again. Deep kick out the back. Suns have got the numbers there as long as the roving. Kicks it out towards right half back and off hands out of play for a boundary throw in. Opposite side of the ground to our own Charlie King on the boundary.
Yeah, this is day one of reconciliation week. I was just thinking, keep an eye on Jamara Ugle-Hagan. He's in for a big game tonight, I reckon.
Yeah, and a man who has been at the front of so many headlines this season outside of his outstanding football. Boundary throw in, 60 from the Dogs, attacking goal. Gets to ground level and another ball up as Artie Jones tackles Darcy McPherson. I wonder what the McPherson clan are thinking tonight, having spent so many years in the tricolours with Dad Steve, a Footscray legend. Ball up, right half back for the Suns. Swallows, hand pass stolen by Dale of the Dogs. Through hands of Williams, he gives to Lobb. Off a step from 60, bangs it to full forward for the Doggies. Getting back, Collins got to the drop for the Suns. Couldn't take the mark, but fumbles it over the boundary line.
Played against Steve. He was a nasty man too. Against.
That was another era, Jamo. They were a bit nasty back then. Darren Creswell used to terrorise me.
Was it Foster? Peter Foster, centre-half back as well. He was a nasty piece of work.
Darren Creswell. We're dropping some names here. Rod Jamieson and Joel Bowden with you on Grandstand AFL. Dogs 3-1-0 here. And in attack again. Out of the boundary throw-in, flying shot across the bows of goal. Goes over on the bounce in the opposite pocket. That number to get in touch is 0437 774774. Eagles and Dons available when it gets underway on the ABC Listen app. Look for the AFL Extra button.
Norton versus Witts.
And I'll give it a neutral down to Rowell, who's immediately tackled by Bontempelli.
And the Dogs are setting up with English behind the play here. Witts up against Norton.
Norton got the tap there, but roved by Davies of the Suns. Under pressure, his kick from the pocket comes down on 50. Roved by Dale of the Dogs. He just hacks it straight back to the pocket and through for a point.
My mistake, I said Witts. They're setting up with English behind the play, and Witts is in the ruck for the Suns.
Any of the exit kicks at the moment from the Gold Coast are just under pressure, really, isn't it, too? So they are set up behind, and here's another example, 2-on-1.
Short to the pocket for Long, who goes long but turns it over, looking to go to right half back, where O'Donnell takes the mark for the Bulldogs. Another inside 50 for the Doggies. Off the hands of the pack, Waitman a chance at the back. Can't gather. Long's there for the Suns. Eventually picks it up. Waitman tackles him. Not a great hand pass. Ugle-Hagen's a chance. Davies there to push him off the ball. Ball out of play. But that inside 50 stat, gentlemen, 7-2 already in favour of the Bulldogs.
A lot of pressure inside the Western Bulldogs forward 50 here.
7-2, but 3-2 as well.
Yep, making the most of it. Jamo, boundary throw in. 40 metres from the Dogs, attacking goal. Witts to the front for the Suns. Looking to lay it for Rowell. Didn't find him. Stolen by Smith of the Doggies. Hard on the boundary line. Hand passes infield. Looking for the Bont. Post and boundary line too close for even he to create, and another throw in.
22-8 uncontested possession, so the Bulldogs just controlling the footy.
Just looking at the terraces, there's enough space for it not to be crammed. I reckon it'll be humming when your mob are here next week, Jamo.
Yeah,
Big Crows territory on this 2-week stay for the Suns. They've got Adelaide next week. Boundary throw in. Davies in the back pocket for the Suns. Tackles, hand pass, turned over. Jones is tackled by Swallow, lost it. Picked up by Rowell, who hacks the Suns clear of immediate danger. Out towards Holman. The 100-gamer Nick Holman, who can't pick up there. Out of play. 9 games for Carlton, but in his 91 for the Suns has become a real heart and soul barometer. They love him at Carrara, Nick Holman.
Eddie Rowell, also his 50th.
Yeah, and we've got the 150th for Rory Lobb as well. There's a few of those little milestones tonight, Jamo. Boundary throw in. Daniel with the rove for the Bulldogs. Got a hand pass out the back to Williams. Kicks it to half forward. Norton flies. Couldn't mark. Taps it to the open forward line. Hoping for Waitman to run onto it. He does. He tries to kick it off the ground. He had company and was harassed and couldn't kick it where intended. Out of play on the bounce. Boundary throw in. Right forward pocket Dogs. 8 insides to 2.
Another football over the back, just keeping it alive, the Western Bulldogs. 2-on-1, good speed to shut it down.
Rod Jamieson, Joel Bowden, Quentin Hull and Charlie King with you for Grandstand AFL.
Got a blocking free kick against the Suns. It looks like Norton's got the free kick.
I was looking at the throw-in, Joel, and you hear the whistle, so indeed it is going to be Aaron Norton's free kick. Any help us? So a block, you think, Joel?
The umpire indicated a block. He had his arms out, indicating a block. I didn't see it myself because, of course, we looked at the ball when it was coming in, not the players. But he's paid a free kick. Norton's lining up for their 4th, and we're only 13 minutes into this game.
He's missed it by a long way. He's not going to score. That was 40 metres out, 45 degrees to the right, and that is a terrible push from Aaron Norton and a bad miss. Out of bounds on the full. Free kick, Gold Coast in the right back pocket. Score remains 3-2.
20 goals, 15 for the year. And that one on the full. He drops it really low, which is unusual. And here's a chance.
Yeah, Collins to Long, who almost turned it over, but mopped up by the Suns as Ainsworth picks up at left half back. Kicks it to half forward. A rare 4-8 forward for the Suns. Tommy Berry gathers for Gold Coast. Got away from DeRay and slots it to the top of the goal mouth for King to take an uncontested mark and should kick the Suns' first goal of the night.
Well played. Really well composed too. Taylor Giray is actually a really solid defender. Just his ability to work and manoeuvre his body, get past him, run on with it, and then deliver. Had every chance to have a shot on goal and decided to go forward and just chip.
Point blank range for Ben King, who strolls forward and kicks it into the Michael Long centre through the major opening, even though the goal up did a fair bit of work to his right. It is the Suns' first score. It is a goal. The Dogs 3-2-20. The Suns 1 straight 6. We played 14 and a half minutes at Marara in Darwin. Hope you're enjoying it with us on Grandstand AFL.
Well done to Berry, but I think Giray would be disappointed. He lost a 50-50, but worse than that, he didn't halve it. He didn't spoil the ball and head it towards the boundary line. He didn't, make it a contest. He actually let Berry run past him, and Ben King gets his first goal for the night. And let's hope for the Suns that he can get a few more tonight, because they've been run over at the moment, 3-2 to 1 goal.
And we've just got underway in the West with the Eagles and the Bombers. No score there. And that late news coming from Cardinia Park with Greater Western Sydney joining the Saturday of upsets. Hawthorn and Walyalup winning as well today. The Hawks, Dockers and Giants all winners on this Saturday of round 11. Bit of a wobbly bounce in the middle, up lets it go. English taps down for the Bulldogs, looking for Bontempelli. He's harassed off it immediately by Rao, but then got a toe to it. Kicks it to the half-forward flank. Leading out is McRae. Well gathered, hands it back to the Bont. 70 out, left foot kick inside. 50 is intercepted by Jeffrey in the right back pocket.
And he's playing off half-back. He's had a couple of weeks in the twos and he's been running off half-back, and Jeffrey's taken a good intercept mark there. I'm sure his family will be happy with that here in the NT.
He chipped it to McPherson, whose kick was set a task of Collins. Lobb makes the spoil. Boundary throw in, still attacking 50 for the Dogs at right half-forward. His dad Russell, along with you, Joel, a member of the NT team of the century.
And one of my coaches in the old Teal Cup back in 1995.
Boundary throw in, right half forward for the Dogs. Lobb had a swing at it, no telling tap. Picked up by Humphrey of the Suns. Rush kick to the wing through the hands of King. Ground level, gathered by one of the blood nuts. That's Richards. And he's tackled immediately by Holman. So we'll have another ball up. Still just attacking sort of halfway here for the Bulldogs. Lobb lays it down for Jones. He mistimes his hand pass, has to play tackler. Ball picked up by Powell of the Suns. He toe pokes at 20 upfield. Did he have intent? Did he have intent?
Oh.
No, he did not, according to the umpire. There were a couple of teammates that were probably just out of zone, Jamo.
Stiff, isn't it? Yeah. I think he took some time to make the decision.
So the free kick goes to Gardner, decides to chip it backwards. And it's young O'Donnell, is it? At right half back for the Bulldogs. And now he's turned it over, kicking it to the wing. Marked by Andrew. Andrew's kick is a high one from the wing. Back to attacking 50 for Gold Coast. At the front of the pack, Lukosius had a go, can't mark. Diving over it for the Suns was Berry, couldn't pick up. It is picked up by Anderson. Hand passes to Swallow on 50. Gold Coast a rush entry to full forward. 2-on-1 against Ainsworth. And McRae back there to take the mark for the Bulldogs. Plays on quickly with a kick to half-back. McNeil marks, can roll on and does now just forward of the half-back flank. Kicks it to half-forward and Bontempelli grabs it. A kick and a half from goal. Has to hold up as Collins ran hard to man the mark. Bontempelli kicks to the pocket out on the full. Gee, everything was good about that movement until the Bont's entry. Out on the full, Bulldogs by 14 points.
A little unusual, wasn't it, too, for him to dispose of the football. He had Waitman ready to go, but he just couldn't get around the man on the mark to just get it there low.
Switch across the face of goal. Andrew marks, kicks long to the wing over the head of Holman, roved by Witts of Gold Coast, who chips it short to Rosas. Mally Rosas Jr. back in Darwin, infield on the 45, was looking for Berry. Kick is cut off, though, by O'Donnell for the Bulldogs. Chain of hand passes through Daniel. He gets it back, then gives to McRae. Under pressure, chip across the half-back flank, picked up by Bontempelli. He goes corridor with a kick back to the bullseye. Target is McNeil. McPherson almost spoiled. McNeil's hand pass is stolen, though, by Casbolt of the Suns. Rush left foot kick to half forward. Comes off the pack. Humphrey does the roving 60 out on his right boot. Bangs it to a vacant goal mouth. It pitches and is seen over the boundary line by Liam Jones, tracking back, so thrown in right forward pocket for Gold Coast.
And it looked like McRae and Bontempelli actually collided there in that contest, which caused the crumb. And now we've got a little bit of momentum going the Suns' way the last few minutes. It's inside 50 again.
Tiger great two-time All-Australian Joel Bowden alongside Rad Jamieson in the experts' chair in Darwin. As the ball's thrown in, Witts palms down, Swallow does the roving, gets it on his left boot, and David Swallow's kicked a second goal for the Suns. Cold face hack with his left boot, and it was good enough from the original Sun. And the Gold Coast has found 2 goals to answer the early Bulldogs onslaught. Doggies 3-2-20. Gold Coast 2 straight 12. Essendon with the first goal over in the West, 1 straight to nothing.
Yeah, they're out of the blocks, but now the Gold Coast have been able to get it back onto their terms in the last couple of minutes. The clearance work is great. In the centre, they're getting beaten, but it's around the ground. That's where the Gold Coast are starting to get a little on top. Just got to be a bit smarter when they go forward. There is that player sitting behind the football for the Bullies, and so it's a 2-on-1, 3-on-2 most of the occasion.
Marcus from South Melbourne texts, he saw Rod and Steve McPherson terrorise Jamo and Mods in a certain final.
Oh, well, that would have been 97 and 98. We won both, though.
Good retort.
And the flags, Good
retort. 0437 774 774. Clearance. Suns. Humphrey with a hand pass over his head to Rowell. Kick inside 50, looking for Casbolt. Couldn't mark, but it's rode by Ainsworth. From 35, a snap from the pocket. The Suns have got a third. Thrust and counter thrust in the territory. Dogs have charged down to the stalls, but as they settle in racing parlance, it's neck and neck. Bulldogs 3-2, Suns 3 straight. Great finish from Ben Ainsworth from the right forward pocket.
It's just winning the football at the source now, isn't it, too? Just getting it forward, keeping it alive. And then, as a defender, you're going to sit back on your haunches. You're not going to go, OK, we've won the clearances so many after, and we've had the momentum. We're going to take off and run forward. Now they've got to sit back and work out, what am I actually going to do? And the Gold Coast have been tremendous.
Oh, terrific comeback from the Gold Coast. And, you know, when you do get 3 goals, 2 down after 14 minutes, you might go back into your shell. They haven't. They've gone forward. And this is a great kick, a great snap round the corner by Ben Ainsworth.
Bailey Humphrey, too, just a handball over his head.
Tell you what,
a bit of luck or a bit of planning.
Footy looks a bit better than this time last night as well. Aesthetically pleasing stuff compared to what many thought was a pretty dull affair at the SCG, unless you're a Swans fan. Another clearance for the Suns. Out the back, Rowell. Hand passes to Jeffrey running off half-back. Kicks Gold Coast to half-forward. Berry got in front of Richards to spoil. Geray, though, roves for the Bulldogs. Hand pass to O'Brien. He slots it beautifully, 30 upfield with a pass marked by English.
That's what the Bullies do so well, don't they? They normally deliver. They've got great kickers across their half-back line.
Among the wrist-banded brigade, Tim English kicks very wide around the boundary line. Norton just got a hand before it went out of play.
Almost went to Charlie King.
So Jones has got 1 wristband. Scott's got the double wristband. English the double wristband. Just trying to find. Geray's got a double wristy.
Tim
Liam
English
Jones
too.
has got it. Yeah, there's maybe 7 or 8 from the Bulldogs. English wins the ruck on the wing, but spiked away by Powell of the Suns. One-handed gather by Richards under pressure. Well done. Got it to his boot too. Marked by Jones. Between wing and half forward. This is Arthur Jones with Liam down in defence. He kicks it to Hugel Hagan, who's leading and marking right on 50, where the paint of 50 meets the paint of the boundary at right half forward for the Bulldogs. Kicking down to that southern end.
Sam Collins is getting in the ready, set, go position. He's going to charge straight at him.
If he's off his line and called play on. Hugel Hagan doesn't go for goal. Kicks it to the top of the goal square. Off hands, Jones roves, hands to Smith. Goal Dogs. Oh, that was too clever. Artie Jones had Bailey Smith waiting for him, and that was a simple steady and snap on the right boot of the talented number 6 for the Dogs. 4-2, 26 to 3 straight, 18.
Bailey Smith's got 5 disposals. He jumped out of the blocks last week, ended up with 34, I think it was, for the game, but just too easy. Like, just as that ball's come in, all the Western Bulldogs players were just front on goal. The football's come down to the right spot. Archie's in there, great handball, too easy.
Looked like a training drill somewhat, and it was to the top of the square. Instead of going into the pocket from 55, 60 metres out, he actually put it to the most dangerous spot on the field, and they capitalised. They go 4 goals 2 to 3 goals none.
Essendon 2-1 to nothing at the start of that game in the West. Call available on the ABC Listen app. Look for the AFL Extra button.
Here Adam Simpson's going to take an overseas trip pretty much at the end of the year, though it's coming out of the execs at West Coast.
Well, it's been a newsy couple of weeks. No clearance from that centre bounce.
Yeah, no. Why, hey? Why would you want to be a coach?
You get a lot of grey hair
pretty quickly.
Yeah, but hair's overrated, as Jono and I can attest to.
Yeah.
McRae gets the clearance in the middle of the ground for the Bulldogs, kicks it deep, but in front, Charlie Ballard. What a player he is becoming.
Yeah.
Another intercept mark for Gold Coast. He kicks across the face of goal. Jeffrey makes ground to mark and chips it short to Fiorini. D50 left half back. Braden Fiorini taking a moment or two before he assesses options down the main grandstand wing. Kicks it to a pack on the wing. Casbolt got to the drop, couldn't take the mark, but roves his own crumb against his ex-Blues teammate Jones. Battled on, poor hand pass from Casbolt. Picked up by Fiorini though. Hacks it forward to no great advantage of his team. Bailey Smith picked it up, got tackled by Humphrey. The Baileys combining there. Swallow picks up for the Suns, kicks to half forward. Off hands, it's Witts roving and dropping the football under the tackle of McRae holding the ball.
He's going to pirouette out of there, get the handball off. Gold Coast go inside 50 once again. Didn't go to plan.
Wrong man to pirouette, Jamo.
Yeah,
Big Witsy. He does lots of things. McRae with the free kick at half back. Oh, that's only just 15. I don't think it was. Went to Liberatore, gives it back to McRae. Kicks it to the outer wing, marked by O'Brien. Hand pass to O'Donnell. From forward of left half back, a raking kick to half forward. Geray the target. Collins coming to spoil. Roving no Bacon near the boundary line for the Dogs. Hand passes infield to Geray, who's tackled over the line by Rowell. Boundary throw in left half forward for the Bulldogs, who lead it by 8 points.
Lots of left footers in this team. It looks like McRae's actually playing a sweeping role off half back. Even though he's in the midfield, I think he's playing centre back and using his lethal left foot to get him out of trouble.
Yeah, Caleb Daniel did the same last week as well.
Ball thrown in. Bontempelli got behind the ruckman, who neither got a telling touch. Picked up by the Bont, kicked it inside 50. Norton got aerial and is going to get a free kick. Hold on. We've got two umpires giving two different decisions.
Yeah.
And Norton's going to be the beneficiary of the argument. One of them said that it was an unrealistic attempt. The other one said that there was a push. Yeah, dear. So Aaron Norton's going to get a shot. Did you have a read on that either of you guys?
Well, Norton sometimes can overplay it, but...
Here's the kick anyway. From 45 out, Norton has missed to the near side. So he's kicked an out of bounds and a point. 9 the diff at 4-3 to 3 straight. It was right in our eye line as well. We were able to see both umpires, one pointing one way, one the other.
Dustin Martin did something slightly more than that 2 weeks ago and it was let go.
Jeffrey runs to the pocket. Long inbound to half back. There's a whistle in the pack there too. Free kick going to the Dogs. So it's Gardner for the Bulldogs at left half forward. Pumps it into attack for the Doggies. Long got in front of Norton to tap it out of play. Boundary throw in. If you want to get in touch, the SMS number 0437 774 774. Please text us your name and where you're texting from. Over in the West, it's Essendon 2-1-13, leading West Coast 1 behind. Just the reminder again, ABC Listen app, AFL Extra button to hear that call. Throw in, it's Witts tapping to boundary side of the pack. No real rover to get it clear. I'm just giving them a chance. Bont has a go, lost it, kicked clear by Ballard of the Suns. I think he's kicked it out in the full. He has.
You can only use the tools that are in front of you, but at the moment, free kicks, 6 to the Bullies, none to the Gold Coast.
And Geray's going to inbound from 70 out, left half forward for the Dogs, another inside 50, over the head of the leading Ugelhagen. Ground level, Scott's tackled immediately and wrapped up, ball up. The hum of around 8,000 fans in Darwin. What a night to be at the footy.
It's like a pre-season game almost, isn't it, otherwise, Joel?
It's absolutely beautiful here in the dry season. If you're booking a holiday, book one to Darwin right now.
Lob wins the tap down. Bontempelli gets it on his boot. Under pressure and it slews off the side, bounces out of play.
They're putting him under pressure. He's a great player, Bontempelli, but they are putting him under immense pressure, and he's actually not kicking that well tonight for his normal standard. He's put one out of bounds on the full. He's turned it over in the midfield earlier, and now they're tackling him where he's actually putting it out of bounds in his forward 50.
Joel Bowden and Rod Jamieson with you on Grandstand AFL. Throw in with the Dogs in attack again. Went to the foot of the big man, and Baker applies a tackle on Atkins, so we'll have another neutral.
In saying that, Quinton, he's also the leading possession getter on the ground.
Yeah. Can do that. Witts taps down. No rover to his advantage. Waitman crashes in for the Bulldogs. Gets over it. Hatches it a bit. Ump's watching. Oh, he was going to call play on, and then he calls for a ball up. Ball up. Now 30 metres from the goal that the Dogs are attacking. Lob with the tap down, but stolen by Anderson of the Suns. He's slung as he gets his kick towards defensive 50. Davies makes good of it. Picks it up. Hand pass to Ainsworth. Hands to Andrew. Suns clear. Andrew kicks it towards the wing. Roses engage one-on-one with O'Brien, and the local wins the crumb. Picks it up, hands it to Lukosius, 60 out. Does a twirl before kicking to the flank. Didn't go down the corridor. Gathered on the bounce by Ainsworth, 60 out. He's going to drive it now deep with his right boot in the Casbolt direction. Levi got high, can't mark. O'Brien crashes through for the Bulldogs, lost it. Ball alive in the pocket. Fiorini snaps it back to the top of the goal mouth, but Baker's there to take the mark for the Bulldogs among that flurry. And the Doggies have got it in the last line of defence at the Michael Long Centre end of Marara.
How good was Ainsworth in that whole passage of play? Started from the back, run through, works hard, couple of touches.
Short chip to Gardner, who marks, runs to the pocket, kicks to a 2-on-2 on the half-back flank. Andrew first hand for the Suns, couldn't mark, but rove by the Bulldogs. It was Scott getting a hand pass. And now driven forward, marked by Ugle-Hagan. 70 out, kicks inside 50 at the boots of Lobb. Can't mark, arriving McPherson for the Suns to win it. Hands it out the back to Collins. Tumbling clearance, a hoping clearance, marked by Williams of the Dogs on the wing. Chips it to an unmarked Norton. Kick and a half from goal. Just defensive side of right half forward. He's stymied a little by Lukosius. So puts a left foot up and under inside 50. It pitches beyond the pack. McRae taps it. Looking for Waitman, who can't gather. Taps it back infield, and Witt steals it for the Suns. Hand passes to Fiorini. In the back pocket, he kicks. Gold Coast clear of immediate danger. Berry bursts the pack. Juice all over the place at the full. Picked up by King and the Suns. He kicks it to half forward. There's no one there. Swallow tracking back for Gold Coast. Makes a contest. Applies a tackle on Geray. Geray got rid of it, but Berry's followed up to clean up that footy on the wing for the Suns. Hand pass defensively to Lukosius. Now a driving kick inside 50. 2-on-1 Gold Coast. King takes the mark as Holman did enough to ensure Liam Jones couldn't get to that one. And King will have a shot from 30 metres out, slightly left of centre.
And Swinton, it looks like James O'Donnell's hurt himself. He was brave in this contest at half forward. He's limping around in the forward 50. And I think that's why the 2-on-1 occurred there, because he couldn't get back in time, and he's still limping inside forward 50.
We'll get to Charlie after this kick, because he's got an eagle eye on the boundary now. King has already kicked one. 40 out, left of centre, started that left that's not coming back. First miss of the night for the Suns. Dogs by 8 at 4-3, 27 to 3-1, 19. Charlie?
Yeah, Joel will tell you around about this time of night, the dew starts to set on the ground, so it gets very slippery out there. You saw players slipping over in that little push down in the forward line then for the Suns.
Thanks, Charlie. Dogs have turned it over on the inbound, picked up by Ballard, 60 out, and a hacked entry. It's marked by Holman. And right on the siren, this will be a moment for the 100 gamer Nick Holman. 9 games at the Blues, but has really made his mark since moving to the Gold Coast. He is a much-loved member of this team, despite a haircut that looks like it's come from rage in 1987.
The irony of it too, he played for Central Districts in South Australia when he was drafted here to the Gold Coast, who are the Bulldogs in the SANFL.
Probably hasn't changed his haircut since then.
Straight in front, 40 metres out, game 100, Nick Holman, a favourite of the Suns, kicks a goal on the quarter-time siren. And here come all the men in red to get around the ex-blue. In game 100 in the AFL, that goal makes it a 2-point ball game at quarter-time here in Darwin. It's the Bulldogs who kicked the first 3 goals, finishing that term at 4-3, 27. And the goal to Holman on the siren makes it 4-1-25 for the Suns. So 4-3 to 4-1. 2 points the lead to the Bulldogs. We're yet to get a multiple goal kicker in the game. Scott, Ugle-Hagan, Williams and Smith, the goal kickers for the Bulldogs. While for the Suns, it's King, Swallow, Ainsworth and Holman right on the siren. Dogs 4-3, Suns 4-1, Bullies by 2 at the first change. The game in the West's tracking just a little behind this one. Essendon 3-1-19, leading West Coast 2-1-13. A reminder, ABC Listen at AFL Extra if you want to hear that game. Here in the far north of the continent, it's the Dogs by 2 points at quarter time. Hope you're enjoying your Saturday night footy on Grandstand AFL.
This winter, get ready for 8 weeks of cricket like you have never heard before.
One of the most dramatic mornings Test cricket you'll ever see.
The World Test Championship final.
Cullen's on his way. Coley is forward. Driving, caught by Green. Coley out for 4.
The Women's Ashes.
Beaumont is struck on the pad and Perry's appealing and she's got another one. High fives for the Australian.
And a rivalry bigger than the game itself. The Ashes.
Goes and evolves to Smith, who works it away. There it is. 200, and he'll take another for luck as well.
Grandstand Cricket, the Ashes.
Every ball, live and commercial-free this winter with ABC Sport.
This is the Sir Doug Nicholls round.
On your radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app.
Anthony Scott, right on 50, left foot strike. He's given that everything. It's the first goal of the night. Beautiful kick, and the Dogs are on the board in Darwin. So Jamara Ugle-Hagan, 25 metres out, not much angle, left foot true. Dogs get the jump. 2-1-13 plays nothing. Hand pass to Swallow in the back pocket. A rush clearance for the Suns. Well, it's taken by Williams. Must have been touched, no mark. He then finds a passage there, but bang on goal! And launches it through for the Dogs' third. Tommy Berry gathers for Gold Coast. Got away from DeRay and slots it to the top of the goal mouth for King to take an uncontested mark and should kick the Suns' first goal of the night. Point blank range for Ben King, who strolls forward and kicks it into the Michael Long centre through the major opening, even though the goal up did a fair bit of work to his right. Witts palms down, Swallow does the roving, gets it on his left boot, and David Swallow's kicked a second goal for the Suns. Clearance Suns, Humphrey with a hand pass over his head to Rowell. Kick inside 50, looking for Casbolt, good at mark, but it's rode by Ainsworth. From 35, a snap from the pocket, the Suns have got a third. Ugle-Hagan doesn't go for goal, kicks it to the top of the goal square. Off hands, Jones roves, hands to Smith, goal Dogs. Oh, that was too clever. Straight in front, 40 metres out, game 100, Nick Holman, a favourite of the Suns, kicks a goal on the quarter-time siren.
The 2023 Sir Doug Nicholls round.
On ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Handy start to this one in Darwin. Great to have your company. Quentin Hull, Rod Jamieson, Joel Bowden and Charlie King bringing you the Suns and the Dogs. The Bulldogs leading it by 2 points at the first change. 4-3-27 to the Suns, 4-1-25. All this after earlier today. Hawks by 10 over the Saints. Dockers by 7 over the Demons. Giants by 9 over the Cats. 3 upsets so far. Meanwhile, over in the West, 2-goal diff there. Essendon 4-1, West Coast 2-1 early first term. In the National Rugby League today, there are only 2 games, with State of Origin coming up on Wednesday night in Adelaide. Of course, you can hear that right across the country on ABC Local Radio and the ABC Listen app. The Broncos have beaten the Warriors in Napier by 26 points to 22 in the first half of the game at the Olympic Stadium. Canberra 16, leading South Sydney 4 in the Super Rugby Pacific today. Wins for Fiji, 47-46 over Moana Pacifica. Crusaders 42-18 over the Tars. Blues beat the Hurricanes 36-25 and currently 25 minutes in. Chiefs 10 lead the Brumbies 7. Jamo, Joel, thoughts on the first half hour of footy here? Dogs leading it by 2.
Yeah, well, look, the Bulldogs jumped out, didn't they? And away they went. I think if you're Luke Burbidge, you'd be sitting there, Joel, just going, look, we got 17 inside 50s to 11. 4-3, just wasteful, I thought. You know, like just went away, bombed it in, and kept going back. So you're pressuring the back half, but I'd almost say just slow it down a little bit and just use the football a bit better, particularly with the targets that they've got up there. Would that be fair?
Well, they had all the momentum, and at 15-minute mark, I think, Jamo, you were saying you might have, tipped the wrong horse here. However, we go in, a goal on the siren, and Luke Beveridge would be pulling his hair out. No one wants that, right? 36 blokes inside 50 with a minute to go. That's what I'd be coaching. And here we have an even ball game because the Suns got momentum. They continued to back themselves. And as you said, the Bulldogs just didn't capitalise. Bontempelli put one out of bounds on the full. They kept on banging it long, and they missed a couple of gettable shots. Now, Norton's kicked out of bounds on the full from 35 metres out on a 45-degree angle. Unacceptable.
Well, Noah Anderson too, the Gold Coast, continues to win the football. You got Bailey Humphrey winning the football. Fiorini off the back line doing really well in the defensive area. Alex Davies doing well. And then Matty Rowell, I was reading he was 20. He's the biggest tackler in the competition at the moment. He's leading by 20 and he's got another 3 already in the first quarter.
Thanks, Jamo. Thanks, Joel. Second half is underway. Second quarter, should I say. Bulldogs leading it by 2 points from the tap down Liberatore. Foot of the pack. Under pressure. Got a hand pass through Smith to Bontempelli, who spins through a tackle on the wing. He's in trouble and then almost misses his boot trying to kick it with his right. Just shinned it. Stolen by Ainsworth of the Suns. Hands it to Anderson. Giving it on to Humphrey. He's tackled. Bont's there to mop up that kick, and that's a better kick from Bontempelli. Well, at least he hit his boot, but it went out of play.
I love seeing left-footers try to kick on their right foot. I could never do it. I use mine to get on and off the bus, and that is just the best. He's one of the best players in the AFL, and he's kicked the ball off his shin.
Yeah, almost did not hit boot for one of the champs of the game. Boundary throw in. Witts taps at boundary side. Punched further forward by Anderson of the Suns, but stolen by Dale of the Dogs. Hand pass to Lobb. Hand pass to Bontempelli. Dogs win it on the wing. Kick to half forward. Leading target was McNeil. Had it spoiled away out the back though. Norton Roves. Hands it to Waitman. Had a fumble. Gets tackled. Gets it to his boot. Not a great kick though. Picked up by Powell of the Suns from half back. He hacks it clear. And it's marked by Berry for Gold Coast defensive side of the grandstand wing.
Good first quarter.
And he rolls on Tommy Berry to kick towards attacking 50. Davies gets a hand for the Suns but couldn't mark. Under pressure from Duray. Arriving is Richards. His kick clears it 10 metres upfield to no great effect, and then Witts and Lobb do a tango over the boundary line for a throw-in.
Better pressure. Again, just better going forward. The tackling when it gets into the forward line isn't being too bad by the Gold Coast.
Just trying to see if I can get a moment to see what the weather app tells me about our current temperature. 26 at the moment.
Feels like.
Humidity's 48%. Feels like 26, apparently, according to the app, Joel. From the throw-in left half-back, Daniel with the clearance for the Bulldogs. Ran to gather some space, has a bounce and kicks it up the wing, and English has sticky fingers, probably aided by those white wristbands.
Caleb Daniel is just all class, isn't he, too? Small spaces, diminuture in stature as he gets another touch.
Yep.
Play on.
English kicked it back to Daniel, wasn't 15. He kicks it 20 metres backwards to Gardner on defensive 50. Switches it to the outer half-back flank. O'Donnell has to run hard, and he does to take the mark. Kicks infield on the 45 to Richards. Marks and plays on. Infield to the bullseye. Marked by English, who's going to roll on. Has a bounce with Rowell chasing him. English now delivers to half forward. Marked by Ugelhagen. He's on the lead and marking 60 out. Plays on quickly. Kick infield. Intended for Waitman. Chopped off by Anderson of Gold Coast. Dogs turn it over before going inside 50. Anderson kicks it across half-back. Marked on the right half-back flank by Andrew. Kicks long to a 2-on-2 on the wing. Casbolt the target, spoiled by Gardner. Roved by Humphrey, who from the wing kicks it towards attacking 50 for the Suns. King wrestling with Liam Jones. Jones does enough to spoil. Ball over the boundary line. Throw in right half forward for the Suns.
Liam Jones, he'd have to be up high in their best and fairest. He's had a tremendous year. He's taken some big scalps.
I just love his story, because he left the Dogs and went to Carlton, reinvented himself as a half-back, and then he had a year off, and he's come back to his original club and he's doing a fabulous job.
You see quality stuff at Palm Beach, Corone, but in the QAFL in between. Boundary throw in right half forward for the Suns. Witch got a hand pass to Humphrey, kicks Gold Coast to the goal mouth. Out the back, Lukosius kicks it off the ground to put the Suns in front. King was wrestling with Jones, and Lukosius fired up, toes it through, and after the Dogs kicked the first 3 goals, the Suns have now not only fought back, but they're now in front at 5-1-31 to 4-3-27.
Well, the Bulldogs just tried to take it around again. The pressure from the Gold Coast was good. Caleb Daniel had to go back. He had to go around the other side. So they had the uncontested football in play, but when they actually went forward to drop it in, the defence of the Gold Coast was able to win it back. And Mac Andrew, just that kick down here to Levi Casbolt, another clearance in a congested area by the Gold Coast to get it forward. They're starting to look dangerous.
They are running on top of the ground, and as Charlie King said earlier, it's starting to get a bit dewy, it's starting to get a bit slippery, and I suspect that ball got over the back because of that little bit of dew and that little bit extra moisture in the air.
Joel Bowden and Rod Jamieson with you on Grandstand AFL. Centre bounce. It's going to be a free kick against Witts for jumping into English when the ball was nowhere near him. So English gets the free kick. Hand passes to Dale, who's running off the half-back flank. Kicks it inside 50. Ugle-Hagan leaps. Can't take the mark. Rove by Lob. Defensive hand pass outside attacking 50. Gathered by Bontempelli. Under pressure. Hand pass to the boots of Ugle-Hagan, who couldn't pick up. But Collins can for the Suns. Hacks it on his boot. It's a rushed and poor clearance. Mistimed and out of bounds on the full. Free kick for the Dogs. 2 kicks from goal. That's Taylor Giray. He's got a wristband for every premiership he won at Hawthorn. 2 of them. On his left and his right. Kicks inside 50. Lobs in the middle of the pack. There's about 3 players claiming a mark here. And they're going to give it to Rory Lobb. First hand and enough of the hand, Jammo. You're shaking your head.
Well, I would have gone jump ball with all of that. I reckon 3 players had their hand, and Rory Lobb is the player from behind. You had Witts and Ugle-Hagan in front. He's picked out Lobb over the back.
I agree, Jammo, that is very hard to differentiate. But Witts, you're a ruckman in your back 50. Punch the ball.
Rory Lobb. Oh, he sprayed that across the face. 2-step approach. He's hit the top of the point post in the opposite pocket on the full.
The footy gods are looking kindly on the Suns there.
That was a terrible kick, Joel. No score. Free kick to the Suns. Ainsworth's got it in the left back pocket. He's going to use his right boot to drive it out towards the wing. Liam Jones leaps to fist the pack, but it's roved front and centre by Anderson of the Suns. Hands it to Davies. Chip into the bullseye marked by Lukosius.
They're out here.
Suns into attack one-on-one. It's Casbolt, who, he got murdered, couldn't take the catch, but then kicks it off the ground and into the post. Oh, Levi from 35. Didn't want to pick it up, but he struck that beautifully and he kicked it into the post for a point. That's 5-2-32 to 4-3-27.
But he was actually unlucky not to win a free there.
Oh, I thought he got absolutely murdered, as I said in the call. But when you Levi Casbolt, I think you do have to make the, the extras list of CSI before you get a free kick.
Ange Postecoglou would be looking, he'd be stoked with that.
Decapitation only for 2 high.
Ball to a pack on the wing. Bulldogs pick it up. Scott, hand passes to Bontempelli, hands it to Lobb, hands it to McRae. Bit of space near the boundary, 70 out left, half forward. Kick to the corridor inside 50. Half volleyed off the ground by Ballard. Marked by Humphrey at centre half back. He plays on quickly. He's got a man out. It's Ainsworth. Marks at 70 from goal. King says, kick it to the space. He does. King's space, though, is stolen by Jones. Not a great kick from Ainsworth. Liam Jones takes the mark. When you've got a one-on-one, you expect your man entering the 50 to at least give the forward half a chance. He missed him by a mile.
Just even if you kick it to where you want your player to run, actually, too, just don't give it to the opposition or to that side, which is no advantage.
Giray, Smith, chip mark, and now Richards has got it. He's on the outer wing. Slow stuff from the Dogs to halfway. Now Richards plays on. Uses his left boot to kick the Dogs to attacking 50, but Ballard reads it beautifully out the back. He had Ugle-Hagan in front of him. Was not concerned at all because he read the flight so well, Joel Bowden. And he takes the mark.
And being able to take a mark in that position just gives the team an opportunity to take a breath, reset, and now they're back on the wing fighting another day.
Long kick to a pack. Dogs ball. Williams with a quick hand pass to Richards. No great penetration with the kick. Oh, great courage. Humphrey going back with the flight to grab it. It wasn't 15, not paid the mark, but he kicks it to the wing and Ainsworth marks it. Watch this space. We know of the Bailey of the Dogs, but the Bailey of the Suns is going to get more waves the more airtime he gets around the competition. Does take a bit of a while if you're in the outer rim for your reputation to permeate, but Bailey Humphrey can play. He was really good in the Q clash last week.
And Jammo, you'd know about that, playing in Adelaide for many years. You know, some of the great players in Adelaide weren't recognised till later in their career.
McPherson kicks to half forward for the Suns. Off a pack. It's on the ground. Hand pass comes out. Swallow hands it on to Ainsworth. 40 out. Snap on goal. Won't have the penetration, but it falls in the square for Lukosius. who gathers, snaps, his second. The Suns have kicked 3 in a row, and Gold Coast lead the Western Bulldogs by 11 points in Darwin. It's 6-2, 38 to 4-3, 27.
Knew they were a chance.
You wanted to get off after 5 minutes.
Well, I sent my footy tips through yesterday and just got to this game, and I just went, no, I'm going to pick it late at the moment. I was unsure which way to go, and the more homework I sort of did on both sides, I thought the Gold Coast are a serious chance. We spoke to Ben Long yesterday, and their form hasn't been too bad. And I thought it was pretty good last week, albeit 42 points in the end, I think, to Brisbane. Their last quarter was really when Brisbane got away from them. But outside of that, they're doing really well. And going back to Charlie Bell, he's the #1 intercept mark player in the competition too, and he just continues to do it.
And Charlie on the boundary.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oops. Oh, there we are, Joel. Yeah. Yeah,
just a bit flaky at the moment, Charlie. We'll try again in a moment. Another clearance for the Suns out of the bounce. Swallow hacks it to half forward, doesn't find a target. Baker picks up for the Bulldogs, tackled by Fiorini and dispossessed. On the deck, a 50-50. Richards and Berry tangle. Play on. Crashing through is Swallow. His hand pass battered clear by Gardner. Picked up by McRae. Dodge ball. Hands it to Smith, and he breaks the congestion with a hand pass to Artie Jones. Has a bounce on the outer wing. Drives a pass to half forward. Norton the target. Ballard the spoil. Mopping up first for the Suns is Powell. Hands it back to Ballard, who roosts the Suns clear from left half back. High ball to the wing. Pitches near Daniel, who then gathers and gets gathered in immediately by the bear grip of Levi Casbolt on the outer wing. Ball up.
He could just swallow you.
Hey? He'd be an entree for Levi.
Ball bounce on the outer wing. Bash clear of the stoppage, and Fiorini picks it up for the Suns. Runs to left half forward, 60 out centering kick is poor. But hold on. Hold on. What the ump says.
Must have run too far.
Did he run too far? Fiorini has been caught for travelling. So Oscar Baker's going to get a free kick at right half back for the Dogs. Quarter time in the West. Essendon 4-1-25, West Coast 2-3-15. As Baker from right half back kicks the Bulldogs back to the wing. Out the back of the pack, McNeil gathers for the Doggies. Kicks them inside 50. Out the back, chase between Collins and Ugle-Hagan. Collins did well to get there first. Tap it to the boundary line and see it over without incurring any wrath of the officials. Ball up, boundary throw in. Charlie?
Yeah, Joel Jeffrey and Mally Roses were standing waiting to come on for about 5 minutes, and some wag started a little bit of a call, was get them on, get them on.
The locals, they want them in action here, Charlie. Why not? Boundary throw in right forward pocket for the Dogs. Smith's close to the line at the coal face. He's tackled. McPherson picks up. Daniel tackles him. No clearance.
Been good since going back, hasn't he? Daniel McPherson.
11 points of the lead to Gold Coast. From the stoppage, a lot of players around it, right forward pocket for the Dogs. McRae falls over to get the ball, gets a hand pass to Smith, hands it out the back to Baker. He's 50 out, kicks to full forward, but Collins charges at the ball and marks it at full back for the Suns. Big thumbs up from Joel Bowden as well. You like a full back that backs himself, Joel?
Oh, absolutely. To take a mark there, that just gives them this is 20 seconds where they can regroup. They're going to chip it around across the back, something I used to like to do with my brother at the MCG, and now they're going to go again and look, they're playing well. They've got all the momentum, the Suns.
McPherson breaks a tackle at left half back. Darcy for the Suns against his dad's old mop. Kicks it to the wing on the head there of Casbolt. He with Gardner, neither can mark it at the foot of the pack, will have a ball up.
Well, Sam Collins looks like he does come from the 70s and 80s with that haircut and that moustache back there.
Well, there's a lot of moustaches and mullets nowadays, Gemma. I mean, in our day there was a few, and then we had that 20 years where they weren't. It was trendy. And
I don't get the moustache.
Yeah. Smith kicks it out of bounds from the stoppage, throw in right half forward. I'm enjoying this combat, you guys.
Not sure either, but there's a lot of them out there.
Joel Bowden and Rod Jamieson having the casual catch-up while describing things for you on Grandstand AFL. Great to have your company here. 11 points the lead to the Suns. Throw up right half forward for the Bulldogs. And again, no clearance as Daniels tackled. Yeah, it goes in fits and spurts, doesn't it?
Well, the mullet's a big comeback, the shaved side of the head. I sort of half get that, I think. I can't even believe. Who was the gentleman that actually did the SMS? He brought up Wawani.
Yeah. From the stoppage, it's the Dogs' ball. Daniel Ham passes it to McRae. Again, all under pressure, given by McNeil to Jones, that's Artie, gives it to Bontempelli, shrugs 2 tackles, 60 out at half forward. He has to hand pass it backwards to O'Donnell. His hand pass to O'Brien, kicks it wide to the half forward flank. No mark for Williams, had it spoiled away, and the Suns are harder at the contest at the moment. Davies picks up for Gold Coast, kicks to Holman, well spoiled by Liam Jones. Rode by the Bulldogs. From the hands of Richards, it goes on to Smith, who kicks long into attack. Ballard flies to thump it away from a pack of 6. Gathered by Anderson at half-back for the Suns. Ham passes to Swallow. Swallow kicks it wide to the terraces on the outer side. Casbolt sees it over with Gardner, his company. Score check at the 14.5-minute mark of the second term. It's Gold Coast 6-2-38 to Western Bulldogs 4-3-27.
Liam Jones, tremendous defensive work back there just to get a fist. The other Gold Coast were away. The team of the Gold Coast and their defensive line all helping each other out.
And I don't think the Bulldogs have scored a goal for half an hour now.
No. Bontempelli scoops up, though, from the throw-in on the wing. He launches a left boot into attack on Ugle-Hagen's head, and he takes the mark. It was a Witch tap down, and it just went to the deck, and the swoop of Bontempelli, a thing of beauty, went to ground, gathered 3 steps to steady, deep entry right on the head of Ugle-Hagen. And the kick was so good that Ugle-Hagen marked uncontested.
Just hands in the air, arms up, takes the pressure.
And he gets a cheer, the Bont, coming from the ground in front of us. Ugle-Hagen shoots and just scores. It's across the face and a behind. Bulldogs' first score of the term. Suns 6-2-38, Dogs 4-4-28.
Disappointing finish. That was a brilliant kick from just in front of the centre the centre circle, and he found him in the forward pocket and he's missed everything.
Powell with a long kick in for the Suns. Liam Jones flies the pack to punch it away from that group of men over the boundary line for a throw-in. Rory Atkins involved in that tangle there with Bailey Williams.
The Rat, as he's affectionately known.
Yeah, 3 years into that big 5-year deal, yet to really make an impact. Rory Atkins has been disappointing to date in his tenure at Carrara. Boundary throw in left half forward for the Bulldogs, and again no clearance there. Williams is wrapped up by Witts. Closer to the wing probably than half forward as it's tossed in the air. English taps down to Liberatore, tackled by Swallow. They are fierce at the stoppage at the moment, the Suns. Another ball up.
And I think there's been a bit of a change because McRae's right in around the contest this quarter. In the first quarter, he was playing 1 out, 1 back, being a bit of a sweeper. He's now right there and he's next to Rao.
Job out with you on ABC Sport. Witts, got a toe to it, semi-smothered. Daniel picks up. Hand pass clear of the congestion. Got it to Dale, hands it to McRae from the middle of the ground, kicks the half forward. Over the head of Ugle-Hagen. Norton a chance out the back. Gathers, hand passes. Jones fell over as he had his moment, top of the goal square. Suns defenders arrived. Still a chance for the Bulldogs. Liberatore's in there. He's tackled by Anderson. Ball lost, picked up by Long of the Suns. Bangs it clear, but straight to a Dogs player. It's O'Brien who marks it, a kick and a half out at right half forward. Kicks to the pocket, and Ugle-Hagen leads and marks in front of Collins. But he's hard on the boundary, Ugle-Hagen, about 40 metres out at right half forward.
Well, he had a sider about a minute ago from around about this pocket. Maybe he can do a little bit better because the Bulldog forwards have had opportunities and they're just not converting.
1-1 for the day for Jamara Ugle-Hagen. Left foot strike. It's across the face of everything. No score. Took a bounce in the opposite pocket and goes out of play. Boundary throw-in.
No one touched it too. Just 2-on-1. Tried to body rather than actually read the football. You're right. Throw-in. Dangerous area for the Bullies.
In front of the Michael Log Centre here at
that's high.
Marara. That's a terrible throw-in. The ump lets it go. Casbolt taps it back and says, why don't you have another go? It's slippery. Have they got the wristbands on? The boundary umps? No.
Can't be that
they have. They've got the green ones on.
Maybe the umpire could put the
latex,
the NFL gloves on and get a little bit more grip.
It is a bit slippery here.
Like kick it in.
Oh, that one's shallow. I just don't think he's got a very strong arm, that boundary umpire. Casbolt laid it on the platter. Kick forward by Rowell. Holman's got it at half-back. Suns get it beyond defence. Picked up by King. Given to Holman by hand. He was in trouble. Tackled by McNeil and lost it. Gathered by Artie Jones. Hands it through Williams to Smith. On 50, Bailey Smith kicks to Norton on his head. The defence is there to put it over the boundary line near our mate again. He's going to have another go in the left ball.
You can just see the arm getting stronger, hey? The Bulldogs have just got an art. They always seem to help one out the back or one out the side. They just get that handball chain, don't they, to allow that bit of space and time to settle down. Bailey Smith was in that chain. In that a little bit shallow as well.
Yeah, that was okay. 10 points the lead to the Suns. Throw in picked up at the foot of the pack by the Suns. Long. He hacks it to right half back. King had a play that couldn't mark right by Dale of the Dogs. Hands it to Daniel from 50. He kicks it goalward and Ballard pushed into it by Norton. Couldn't mark but still wins the ball. No free kick. Kicks it clear a defensive 50. Off the pack row by King. Kick smothered by McRae. Lob applies the tackle. He didn't have the ball. McRae picks it up anyway, kicks it back to our mate, but he won't have to throw it in because it's out of bounds on the full. And he's thinking, you beauty! Free kick to Sam Collins in the right back pocket.
Should use the other arm.
He kicks it to a pack. Target is Lukosha, spoiled by lob, rode by O'Brien of the Dogs. Hand pass went through Gardner to O'Donnell, and he's wrapped up. Manhandled and tackled by Davies, edge of the centre square. Score check at Marara, 20 minutes played second term. Gold Coast 6-2-38, Western Bulldogs 4-4-28. Don's leading the Eagles by 10 points in that game in the West, which is tracking just behind this one.
And at this stage of the second quarter, Quentin, I think that Dogs have got to get a goal or two because they don't want to go in at half-time 2 goals down.
Lob with the tap down. Williams roves defensive side of the pack for the Bulldogs. On the wing. Takes a moment before handballing boundary side to Daniel. Tries to weave away from Atkins. Doesn't really do so. Kicks it on his right boot to a pack at half forward. Norton can't gather. McPherson can for the Suns. Whacks it back from whence it came to the man who kicked it there in Daniel. Try it all again. Daniel marks uncontested.
Sorry, Q. 32 inside 50 to the Bulldogs and they've scored 1 behind in this quarter. They had 17 in that first quarter. The defence of the Gold Coast have been exceptional.
Another kick to a pack. No mark. Powell's over it at ground level to lock it up. Yeah, so overall 32-17. And this quarter 15-6 for the Dogs inside 50. Lob taps down on attacking 50. No rover. Ricochets to Davey, toes it to the advantage of Roses, picks up and slaps it from right half back to the wing. Over the head of Lukosius, marked by Liam Jones.
Yes, who?
Liam Jones marks it and puts the Dogs, just again, a hoper to a pack on attacking 50. Ballard says, thank you very much, double-fisted spoil. Down to Humphrey, tackled by Daniel, no prior ball up. On attacking 50 for the Dogs.
But not getting any reward for the effort, not getting any reward for getting it inside 50. And if they don't, then they run out of energy. The Suns get the momentum back. And let's see if they can't get a couple of goals late and go in 4 goals up. Here they go. They're out.
Lobs tapped it down, but Richards rose defensive side of the pack for the Dogs. He kicks it to Norton, spoiled by Ballard, who kept his foot him and wins the crumb. Hands it off to Jeffrey. Clearing kick for the Suns. To no one in particular out on the half-back flank. Took a wicked bounce away from Baker. Allowed Fiorini to do enough to nudge it over the line. Throw in between left half-back and the wing for the Suns. Out in that outer side. At 25 degrees currently at Marara Stadium. This magnificent facility. There's indoor stadium. There's rugby league. There's cricket out the back. There's everything here at Marara.
It's great.
What do you say? Tennis as well, John?
You're fishing?
He was moving his arm in some type of motion.
Good at charades?
No. Holman off the clearance from the throw-in. Suns ball on the wing. Hand passes to Atkins. His kick. Duray in the chin. And he marked it at half-back. That was a weird entry, and Duray takes the grab. Now, what is that sport, Joel?
There's tennis. There's a tennis centre. There's also a clay target shooting over there, which you wouldn't believe.
Here we go. Oh, bad kick out of defence from the...
Finish it.
That was O'Brien. He gave it up to McPherson, gives to Atkins, kicks to the pocket. Ainsworth. He snaps on goal, and it's towed through on the volley by Lukosius. Sam Jack Lukosius. Wow. That's his third. He's kicked all 3 goals in this term. And that was an intentional volley as Ainsworth had a snap from the pocket. And Jack Lukosius just thought, nah, I am going to volley this through from the face of goal. And he has. Suns have kicked the last 4 in the game and they lead by 16 points.
Well, the Bulldogs had it in control once again. It was just out 40 metres out directly in front of goal. Taylor Duray, it comes out wide. Kick, missed the target by plenty. 3 on 2, and then you've called the rest. And just the smarts of Lukosius to be able to it was always going to be difficult to try and grab it, stop it, but just put his foot to it. What a great finish.
Great skills. But you see, 5 minutes in the Bulldogs forward 50, the game then quickly transfers down the other end. It's open and they get a goal. Like, the reward for effort's just not there for the Dogs, and they're 3 goals down.
Lob onto the wing with Mac Andrew.
English wins the tap and gets it defensive side to a rover. It's Liberatore. Gets on his left boot. Liver kicks the Bulldogs from the centre square to half forward. They trail by 16 points. On the bounce, McNeil can't gather. First time. He has another go to tap it to Jones, should I say. Hand pass out the back to McRae. Hard on the boundary, 50 out. Kicks to the goal mouth. Rushed through by the Suns' defence as it's punched through for a minor score.
Joel Jeffrey, I think it was.
Yeah, I was just double checking that it was him all the way down back there. Indeed it was.
And that was cheered very loudly by the crowd. I think the Jeffrey family are in that back area.
Mainly Wanderers for the Jeffreys?
Yeah, the Wanderers Football Club.
He's kicked it to the pocket and then smashed out of play. Long kick to the wing, smashed out of play. So have I got it right? Wanderers for Joel Jeffrey, the Darwin Buffs for Mally Roses and his dad, and St Mary's for Ben Long.
Yeah, of course, a Long family. And Russell Jeffrey also played at Palmerston. He was a premiership coach and captain when Palmerston won premierships. I think it was 98, 99 in that era.
Joel Bowden helping with the local knowledge here at Marara. Boundary throw in. Andrew tackles lob, no clearance, no prior.
Swallow on the bond.
From the ruck. Rode by McPherson. Quick kick. Got up to Davies for the Suns. Hand pass to space for Humphrey on the wing. Hacks it from his right boot to half forward. Jones leads King to the ball. King pushed him off it. No free kick. Rode by Dale. Hand pass intercepted though by King, who's foraging for it. Got tackled. Nudged it to Swallow. He's tackled. Got a hand pass to Davies. Now they're out. Hand pass to Berry. Evades a tackle. Hands it backwards to Humphrey. 70 from goal. He'll kick it to full forward. Lukosius! He's already kicked 3 this term. Double grab mark and he'll set sail for his 4th from 35 out straight in front.
I think his immediate opponent is Bailey Williams too. Just not giving him enough attention that he deserves. A little bit of space. Lukosius just being able to run and get up at the football, read it really well, went over the back, and just the ability by the Gold Coast just to win the football in the congested area again.
This is a purple patch. I hope he puts it through. 4 goals in a quarter will be something to write home about.
He's straight in front, kicking to that southern end. Set shot for Jack Lukosius. This can be a problem for him, but not tonight. Pumps his fist as soon as he strikes it with his right boot. The Suns have kicked the last 5 goals in the game. Jack Lukosius has kicked the last 4 of them. And Gold Coast, having conceded the first 3 goals to trail by 20 points before we'd even settled, are now 21 in front at 8-2-50 to 4-5-29.
4-8 second quarter. Just their ability to be able to maintain the pressure that the Bulldogs have applied. We've spoken about the inside 50s. In and around the football, they're probably splitting it in that area. Still could do better when they go forward. They're still going wide, aren't they? So there's a couple of opportunistic goals, but outside of that, they're still getting what they're after. Whereas Luke Beveridge, on the other hand, would just be pulling his hair out. They've only the 2 behinds in this quarter.
20 inside 50s for 10 scores, compared to 36 inside 50s for 9 scores.
It's an amazing percentage conversion rate for the Suns at this point in time.
Rod Jamieson and Joel Bowden with you. Centre bounce, English clearly over the top of Witts. Punches it to half forward, but it's met by McPherson. Tackled off his kick by the Bont. Ump says play on. English goes to hands and knees. It's a long way down to do that work. Hands it off to Daniel. He's tackled by Rowell. And the ball up is called by the ump. Forward of the centre circles, just shy of centre half forward for the Bulldogs. Witts clean thump at that stoppage. Lob though roves out the back for the Bulldogs. Hand passes to Daniel. Rush kick to attacking 50. Andrew gathers it for the Suns. He's got time to steady before booting it out of defence to the wing. On the head of Roses. Can't take the mark. Lukosius arrives for the Suns to tap it to the boundary and see it out of play. Not far from Charlie King. He's having a look at things at close level. Charlie King. I would love to have had as many hot meals as Charlie King's covered football games at Marara Oval.
He's done a lot, and it looks like they're holding up the sign on the boundary line for a minute to go. So not long to go. Let's see if the Dogs can actually get a goal this quarter.
It could have Charlie's name on it.
It's 90 seconds to go. Rowell wins the clearance on the wing. Oh, whistle. Lukosius gets a free kick. Holman takes the advantage. Kicks it to King in the pocket. Jones makes the spoil. Illegally, chop at the arms. Free kick to Ben King.
This is amazing. And Liam Jones has got to think himself hard done by. He went for a mark here just in front of us about a minute ago. He got absolutely smashed by King. Play on. He's spoiling inside 50. There's a minute to go in the quarter, and the umpire pays chopping the arms. And here we have Ben King having a shot at goal. If he puts this in, they go in at half-time, and they are going to romp this in the second half if he kicks this goal.
King, slight angle to the right. He's hit it on his right boot across the face. It's a point. 22 the diff at 8.3.51 to 4.5.29. Ben King with 1 goal 2. We've only got 40-odd seconds left in this second quarter at Marara on Grandstand AFL. Short kicking down the corridor marked by Bailey Smith. Hands it back to Dale, who gave it to him. Dale scurries to the half-back flank. Kicks it over the head of Hugo Hagan. Marked by Collins. 30 seconds left for the Suns to go into attack again. Collins from the wing, kicks it to half forward. Lukosius to the front, got a hand, couldn't mark. Rode by the Bulldogs, hacked clear by Gardner, but straight down the throat of Long, who marks for the Suns on the wing, kicks inboard to Powell. Marks in the bullseye, called to play on. He does. Right boot, deep to full forward for Gold Coast. 8 fly in the pack. Whistle. Play on to advantage. Daniel almost stopped, and then the ump said, no, you've taken the advantage. The kick, though, was turned over. No, it's not. It's a free kick to Bontempelli at half-back as the siren sounds.
I mean, down. Is it Ben King? He's just on his haunches too. Long time to come up.
Yes,
here.
Humphrey. He's up and okay, though.
Yep.
And that is half-time in a seesawing affair, which, seed Bulldogs way, then sawed all the way back to the Suns. They kicked the first 3-2 of the game, the Bulldogs, but led by only 2 points at quarter time. And in that term, Jack Lukosius kicked all 4 goals, period. All 4 for the Suns. The Dogs didn't kick a goal. 4 goals, 2 to 2 behinds in that term. And it's Gold Coast leading by 22 points at half-time. 8.3.51 to 4.5.29. Outside of Lukosius is 4. King, Swallow, Ainsworth and Holman have goals for Gold Coast. While for the Bulldogs, same scoring register goals wise as at quarter time. Scott, Ugle, Hagan, Williams and Smith. How is this happening with the Dogs going inside 50 37 times to 22, Jamo and Joel?
Well, they've dropped down to 38% in front of goal too, so that's significant. Just wasteful. And we saw the Blues last night against Sydney. Maybe there were other reasons for it, but predominantly just watch the game and you go, you get enough footy, you get enough shot on goal, and if you don't put the pressure on, particularly on the scoreboard, it just releases, and then the blokes in the back half are just going, come on you blokes, just finish it off. And as you've highlighted, in these weather conditions too, or the conditions, it's draining.
Well, it's draining. We saw the Gold Coast Suns use what we call the air-conditioned room or the cool room here at TIO Stadium that clubs can use in the NTFL season. Now, the NTFL season up here, Jamo, can get up to 35 or 36 degrees and be 95% humidity, and clubs will try and get some respite during the break. The Suns used it at quarter time. They came out, and it looks like from the 15-minute mark of the first quarter, the Western Bulldogs kicked 8 goals and the Bulldogs have kicked 0. It's been all one way, even though there's been that avalanche of inside 50s. And I've got to say, precocious Lukosius just dominated that second quarter, and he's put them 22 points up, I think it is, and that gives them the springboard for this second half. And Luke Beveridge will be tearing strips off them down there if I know anything of AFL coaches.
Well, they've gone on top around the clearance work, the Bulldogs. It's 26-19. The stoppage work, they were falling behind. The Gold Coast was in front, but now 15-19. Free kicks 10 in favour of the Western Bulldogs to 2 for the Gold Coast. So they actually earn, to win the football. But overall, the inside 50s 37-22 and you're 22 points up. They are just using and sucking up a lot of energy.
And interesting, defer to your guys' great on knowledge, but it seems that the Suns are pretty hot on the footy, and then the Dogs are happy enough to go to their one wood of, let's kick it on Norton's head. But the Suns are thinking, hold on, we got Charlie Ballard for that. We've seen the Dogs go to Norton. He's so good at it usually. Kick it on Lob's head, kick it on Norton's head. But Collins and Ballard are loving it.
Yeah, and they are. And it's not working for them. We said that at quarter time. They need to find a different way to actually get in. They've got so many tools. Well, Lob was there on the wing. Mac Andrews had to come up onto the wing to actually go with him. Tim English almost just plays that ruckman, but he's almost like another centre player type, just his mobility around the ground. They go to him through the centre. He takes it on, and they've got the height down there. but where we've spoken about it all the time, just where the football goes for the Bullies, they'd like to get it more central. The Gold Coast are going wide, but they are going pretty much to the middle of the ground. But they're having shots from very wide angles, which is low percentage.
Yeah, the Dogs inside their full 50, there's about 30 players. When it got out, when the release happened, the Suns in their forward 50 had 2 or 3. You know, we saw Casbolt, we saw Lukosius, and we saw Ainsworth in, 3-on-3. Gave him a chance and they're able to score. Like, it looked like at one stage it was too easy for Lukosius there taking a mark, but that's because there weren't 15 pairs inside forward 50. Conversely, down the other end, the Dogs can't score because there's 30 players down there.
Well, Bonapelli's had 16, McRae's had 13, and Bailey Smith had 13. So the players that normally get hold of the football are getting hold of the football. And then it goes to Noah Anderson has 14. And Bailey Dale's now moved up into 14 too. So he's running off the half-back line. Caleb Daniel with 13. So there's enough of the Bullies winning it. But Humphrey, Swallow, Ainsworth, McPherson, Ballard, Davies, Rao, how good have they been?
Charlie on the boundary.
Yeah, just an observation. I just wonder whether wearing the sweatbands were enough to distract the Western Bulldogs players, because that doesn't help with the conditions here at all. I mean, it's tough conditions to play in, and I think they're finding that. And the other thing I just want to mention, if I can, Q, is that the regular footwear at the footy in Darwin is a pair of thongs. And so a lot of people turned up wearing pairs of thongs, but some people didn't wear any shoes, bought tickets, couldn't get in because you're not allowed in without shoes. So there's an opportunity for someone to have a box of thongs for sale at the gate next week when the Crows come to town, so people who buy a ticket and don't wear shoes can get in to enjoy the footy.
That is such a Darwin story, Charlie. Should we... It's almost anti-Australian if you're in the Northern Territory in 25 degrees to not be allowed into the footy just because you haven't got thongs on.
I brought my flip-flops.
What is it, no shirt, no shoes, no service or something like that? Well, member for Johnston, what do you have to say?
Well, the funny thing is there probably a couple of my kids have turned up without shoes, so my phone will be ringing at half-time, I bet you, to say, Dad, can you bring me down some thongs, please?
Well, you know what, I've got the week here. Jamo, you're coming back. You and I should see if we can invest in some thongs.
Oh, we know what little business venture to bring next week and see how the front gate, isn't it?
Dogs led by 2 points at quarter time. It's now the Suns by 22 points at half-time, 8-3-51 to 4-5-29. Getting close to half-time in the West, Essendon 7-4-46, lead West Coast by 3 goals. The Eagles 4-4-28. Call available on the ABC Listen app via the ABC Extra button. Couple on the SMS, the number is 0437 774 774. Bill says Dogs looking inept in the condition. Preparation? ? Says Bill. And Mark from Upwe says, great call again. Could the heat be affecting them? Yeah, we're talking about that. Keep the messages coming in on 0437 774 774. In the NRL tonight, the Broncos beat the Warriors 26-22. Canberra lead South Sydney 16-8. And it's the Chiefs 17 leading the Brumbies 7 in Super Rugby Pacific. That after upset wins to Hawthorn, Walyalup Dockers and Greater Western Sydney earlier today. Suns by 22 at half-time. We'll be back at Marara after the latest from ABC News.
ABC News with David Rowlands. Detectives are investigating a car crash in Victoria's West that's killed 4 people. Beth Gibson reports.
Police say a car carrying 5 people was travelling on Wannon-Nigretta Falls Road in Bukhara in the southern Grampians at around 9:30 this morning when the driver lost control of the car and hit a tree. 4 females who are yet to be formally identified died at the scene. A teenage girl was flown to hospital with life-threatening upper body injuries. The area has been cordoned off while police investigate. Anyone who witnessed the collision or has dashcam footage has been asked to contact police.
Ukraine says Russian forces have eased attacks on its besieged eastern city of Bakhmut. Ukraine's Deputy Defence Minister says there have not been any active battles there in the past 2 days, and Russian troops are instead shelling the outskirts and approaches to the ruined city. She says Ukrainian troops still hold the heights overlooking Bakhmut from the north and south, as well as some of the city outskirts. Russia's Wagner private army has begun handing over its positions to regular Russian troops after declaring it had full control of the city following the longest and bloodiest battle of the conflict. At the same time, Ukraine says it's now ready to launch its long-anticipated counteroffensive to try and retake Russian-occupied territory. The Deputy Leader of the Liberal Party, Susan Lee, has applauded the pre-selection of Maria Kovacic to the Senate, saying she will be a flag-bearer for other women. The New South Wales Liberal Party today selected the Western Sydney businesswoman and former state president for the spot that was left vacant following the death of Senator Jim Molan. She had the backing of the moderate faction and edged out former State Minister Andrew Constance. Ms Lee says Ms Kovacic is accomplished and capable.
We need more women in the Liberal Party, and the way to do that is to pre-select women. And we've done that today. But we've pre-selected an outstanding woman.
New data from Queensland Health shows hospitals are still under significant pressure. Emergency departments are taking the brunt of it with more than 500,000 patients this quarter. Health Minister Shannon Fentiman says early intervention is key.
Because if people stop going to their GP, they put it off, they get sicker, and then they present to our emergency departments with much more serious clinical needs. And we're also seeing, of course, huge population growth. But it means we have a job to do to make sure we've got the infrastructure for these growing communities.
Another round of tourism vouchers to support River Murray businesses is on offer next month for South Australians and cross-border communities. The 12,000 River Revival vouchers, valid from July to November, aim to generate turnover for Riverland businesses hit hard by once-in-a-century floods during summer. The latest round includes houseboat operators, many of whom have only recently returned to full-scale operations. SA Tourism Minister Zoe Bettison says unused vouchers will be cancelled and reissued in a second chance draw.
I'm keeping my eyes on the river. My number one focus is how we support our operators, our accommodation providers.
Private cars could be blocked from busy streets in Melbourne CBD during peak times as a part of a council plan to prioritise pedestrian safety. Yvette Gray has the story.
Sections of Flinders, Collins, Spencer, Burke and Spring Streets would be closed to non-essential vehicles at certain times of the day, under the proposal being considered by City of Melbourne councillors. The draft Future Streets framework identifies multiple areas under consideration which are near public transport hubs. Lord Mayor Sally Capp says pedestrian safety is a priority and the proposed changes are about making Melbourne a more walkable city. The proposal will be considered by councillors at next month's Future Melbourne Committee meeting.
China and South Korea have agreed to strengthen cooperation on semiconductor industry supply chains amid global concerns about computer chip supplies. Chinese Commerce Minister Wang Wentao met South Korea's Trade Minister on the sidelines of the APEC conference in the US city of Detroit. A statement from the Chinese Ministry of Commerce says they exchanged views about maintaining the stability of the industrial supply chain for semiconductors. Mr. Wang says China is willing to work with South Korea to deepen trade ties and investment cooperation. And in sport, Australian captain Meg Lanning has pulled out of the Women's Ashes Cricket Tour in England starting next month due to medical reasons. Cricket Australia says Alyssa Healy is set to lead the team instead. It's the second time the 31-year-old has missed the Ashes after a shoulder injury ruled her out of the 2017-18 home series.
This winter, get ready for 8 weeks of cricket like you have never heard before.
One of the most dramatic mornings Test cricket you'll ever see.
The World Test Championship final.
Cullen's on his way. Coley is forward. Driving, caught by Green. Coley out for 4.
The Women's Ashes.
Beaumont's who struck on the pad and Perry's appealing and she's got another one. High fives for the Australian.
And a rivalry bigger than the game itself. The Ashes.
Goes and evolves to Smith, who works it away. There it is. 200, and he'll take another for luck as well.
Grandstand cricket. The Ashes.
Every ball, live and commercial free this winter with ABC Sport.
You're dead, man.
Yep, I'm back for an encore.
Okay, I'm going crazy.
Two best friends, but one has kind of passed on.
I'm stuck in limbo, you're stuck with me.
So, what's the unfinished business?
He made a big payment out of the business account.
What were you hiding?
A new Aussie series that proves friendship never dies.
Some souls remain to pass on profound wisdom.
That's not you.
In Limbo.
Why me?
Because you're my best friend.
Wednesday nights on ABC TV and streaming on ABC iView.
This is the Sir Doug Nicholls Round.
On your radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app.
Witt's got a hand pass to Humphrey, kick Gold Coast to the goal mouth. Out the back, Lukosius kicks it off the ground to put the Suns in front. It's on the ground. Hand pass comes out. Swallow hands it on to Ainsworth. 40 out. Snap on goal. Won't have the penetration, but it falls in the square for Lukosius, who gathers, snaps his second. The Suns have kicked 3 in a row, and Gold Coast lead the Western Bulldogs by 11 points to Atkins. Kicks to the pocket. Ainsworth. He snaps on goal, and it's towed through on the volley by Lukosius. Sam Jack Lukosius. Wow, that's his third. He's kicked all 3 goals in this term. Hand pass to Berry, evades a tackle, hands it backwards to Humphrey, 70 from goal. He'll kick it to full forward. Lukosius! He's already kicked 3 this term. Double grab mark, and he'll set sail for his 4th from 35 out straight in front. Set shot for Jack Lukosius. This can be a problem for him, but not tonight. Pumps his fist as soon as he strikes it with his right boot.
The 2023 Sir Doug Nichols Round.
On ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Saturday night football in Darwin on Grandstand AFL. Welcome back to Marara Oval. Quentin Hull is my name. I'm alongside Adelaide Premiership player Rod Jamieson, 2-time All-Australian, 2-time Tiger Best and Fairest Joel Bowden, who's also a member of the NT Team of the Century and member for Johnston in these parts. Charlie King's down the boundary, and we've got a pretty handy game of footy on our hands at half-time. Gold Coast turning a 2-point deficit at quarter-time into a 22-point half-time lead. And as you heard in the highlights, Jack Lukosius kicking all 4 goals in the quarter. Suns 8-3-51, leading the Bulldogs 4-5-29. Keep your messages coming on the SMS line. Please include your name and where you're texting from. The number to get in touch is 0437 774 774. That's 0437 774 774. Half-time at Perth Stadium. Essendon lead West Coast by 4 goals. The Bombers are 8-5-53 to West Coast's 4-5-29. If you want to hear that game, go to the ABC Listen app, and the AFL Extra button is the place to hear it. Oscar Allen has kicked 3 goals for the Eagles. The Bombers have had 8 individual contributors in front of goal. But it's Essendon 8-5 to 4-5. Langford, Draper, Perkins, Groffy, Stringer, Redmond, Menzie and Snelling have all kicked goals for the Bombers.
Can I see on their cue the West Coast? Have they got another injury again?
Yeah, Edwards is injured. I'm not 100% sure as to what he's done, but he's. I'm looking at this on our secondary screen of the champion data information, and he's highlighted in blue. So, do you tell you what, Jamo and Joel, just as well you're not over there, you might get a game.
Their injury list is longer than almost the amount of players that have got available to them.
So did I see a few weeks ago that Schofield played? Because he was a commentator, wasn't he? He's doing some commentary for Channel 7, and then he pulled the boots on and played.
They've put the call out for a couple of their ex-players to help them at waffle level.
Yeah, it's incredible. Their injury list
I believe I saw a story that Josh Kennedy denied the offer a couple of weeks ago.
He might have been out of condition, you think?
Well, the players are back out on the park here. This is a really interesting storyline in this second half, because yet again we get to this part of the season and we wonder, are the Suns going to be any part of the formation of the chase to the finals? They got pretty close last year. They're behind the 8 ball 4 and 6, but they won their 2 games in a row up here last year, albeit against North Melbourne and Hawthorn. And their opponents this time around back-to-back seem to have been certainly better form and better class this year. Doggies tonight, Adelaide Crows next week. Dogs come here on a 5-game winning run. And what's it say about the Dogs? It's just a matter of, chilly Ballarat suits and hot and sweaty Darwin doesn't. All these things for you to ponder at the break, Jamo and Joel.
Yeah, well, I think they've got the Adelaide you just touched on. They go the bye, then they go Carlton, Hawthorn, and then Collingwood. So there could be another couple of wins in there, you would think, if the Gold Coast continue to perform in the first half into the second half. It's almost around when you get to the bye, you certainly get a better indication, don't you, as to where the teams are at. But what I've seen tonight by the Gold, I think they've been really impressive. I think the Bulldogs have been really disappointing. Just their efficiency, which was so good last week, has been really pouring in tonight, whether it's the conditions, but it seems to be like they've just missed targets. It's high and also going inside 50, which we spoke about a little bit earlier as well. But I guess the energy and the intent of the Gold Coast, for me, is what's impressing me in that first half.
Charlie King on the boundary.
Yeah, Q, I was just looking at the Western Bulldogs team as they came out. It seems to me that quite a few of them have taken off the wristbands. There's a few still wearing wristbands, obviously, but I don't think as many as there was at the start of the game.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because they're all elite athletes. I think the average height out there's 189 centimetres. The average weight's about 84 or 85 kilos for both teams. So it says to me that it's 60% physical and 80% mental. That's 140.
You're giving me a mental with that one, Joel.
And you're going to take anything off that now? You get a second chance? I tell you what, I watched Conor McGregor, and he's not everyone's cup of tea, but I watched...
As in the MMA guy?
Yeah, but I watched the documentary on the way up here because it takes so long to get from Adelaide.
Oh, on the plane?
But the training, his mindset, we're talking about, where the Bulldogs are at the moment, the ability of this bloke, just so methodical with his training, whether you like him or you don't, you should have a look at it and just see how this bloke trains. It's insane.
And can I just say, I've watched footy up here for 9 NTFL seasons. I've never seen a player wear a sweatband ever.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
There you go.
Joel Bowden with the local knowledge.
Uh-huh.
Why worry about the sweatband? Just get better at handling in conditions that, as we start the third quarter, I'll just do the double check on the weather. 25 degrees, and it feels like 25 degrees. That bounce has almost gone into the St Mary's clubhouse.
Interesting lineup too. The Bulldogs did this last week. If you have a look at their forward line, 6 of them all lined up. You've got to do 6-6-6, of course, but just one big line, centre half forward to full forward down the square, right up the middle.
So they had to throw it up to start the third term. Liberatore get the clearance for the Bulldogs. Kicks it inside 50, but it's rode by Collins of the Suns. Hands it to Jeffrey. He's bumped off his kick. Picked up by Jones of the Bulldogs. Ham passes it to Scott. Left foot kick to full forward, straight to Ainsworth of Gold Coast, who marks at the top of the goal square. Waitman, I think, was the target, but the ball didn't get near him. And Ainsworth can run away from full back. He kicks to right half back, and Witts takes the mark.
No luck tonight for Waitman. He's just missed by a couple of centimetres each time, and it just hasn't bounced his way as a small forward.
Witts chips over the man on the mark to Fiorini. Was my local geography right with the St Mary's out there, Joel?
Yeah, that's the St Mary's wing and pocket, and down the other end it's the Wanderers wing and their Wanderers pocket.
Switch from the Suns comes unstuck. Andrew kicked it towards Long on the wing, but picked off by Baker of the Bulldogs. Kicks it to half forward. Lob marks uncontested on attacking 50, and he has to go back now and have a set shot. Now I think Collins just stopped short a little with a leg issue there. But he's moving okay at the moment.
Yeah, I think in the last contest he almost got his ankle maybe just stuck in the turf a little bit, so just caught him a little off guard as the momentum went one. The ankle didn't want to go the other.
3 steps and boom from 55 from Rory Lobb. What a kick for a point. Just missed it across the face. He got the journey. Crowd got up. I thought he kicked it with a reaction.
A massive kick, right? But I'm going to be critical of Baker because Lobb was leading inside 50. He had to put it in front of him. He then would have marked it at 45, not at 50. Give him an extra 5 metres to actually get the ball through the big sticks.
21 the diff. Suns get it to Andrew at left half back from the clearance. Long kick towards the wing, rove by Davies. Hand passes to Powell. Hands it to Witts. Tackled by Libba. Holding the ball. Win for the little men. You beauty. Libba too good for Big Witts. Holding the ball. He plays on. Kicks it looking for Norton. Doesn't get there. Daniel is tackled. Speaking of little men, he's wrapped up by Roses. Ball up. There's a moment. Libba holding the ball against Jared Witts.
David and Goliath.
The underdog gets up. Witts that time won the tap, but down at Daniel. Hand pass out the back to Liberatore. Dogs from 50. Libba kicks it out on the full. And again, that's a blaze when they've won the clearance. Joel and Jamo missed everything. Free kick for the Suns.
And just had to pull it back, right? Didn't have to blaze away. Just pull it back, kick it 35 metres, give it a little bit of elevation and let your forwards have a go. Don't kick it out of bounds on the full.
Collins looks okay as he runs the boundary in the back pocket, kicks it long to right half back and a pack. Liberatore there to rove at the foot of the big men, toes it to attacking 50 and a contest. Bontempelli arrives to pick up his under pressure, hands it to Daniel, weaves around one, hands it to Norton, hands it to Jones, runs in trouble, chucked it. Ump says no, play on. As now Powell is tackled by Daniel and holding the ball. Well, how did Jones get rid of the ball?
That is
holding the ball, Bulldogs free kick, Daniel in front.
That is so stiff, Q. Like, really, Western Bulldogs, like, the pressure was immense. Yep, cop that. Gold Coast outstanding. And then it just goes the other way.
And he picked it up and was instantly tackled. Oh, no, I think this umpire was blindsided because he was in the St Mary's pocket. But there's another umpire right here, Brett Roseberry, who had the vision and can overrule that.
Caleb Daniel's got to make good for it, though. Dogs haven't kicked a goal since the first quarter. We're early in the third. Bit of a stuttle from Caleb Daniel. Strikes it on his right boot. He claps it through. He's happy with it. And so are the Dogs fans behind the goals. And a much-needed major for the Bullies at Marara. 5-6, 36 trails. 8-3-51. It's a 15-point ball game. The Suns lead it through 4 minutes of the third term on Grandstand AFL.
A renowned goal kicker. He's kicked 4 for the year. That's his 5th, but just his talent and his skill just to get to where the football is in the congested area, finds a way to get it out. And if you wanted someone to have the footy in his hands, he is the man in front of goal.
G'day to Fran from Melbourne, who texts, "Hi team." Q, enjoying the call and the comments. What a round so far. A few upsets. Hope this does not include the Pies. Good on you, Fran. 0437 774 774. Paul in Darwin, he's watching the game, lives here. Perfect weather for the game, love the call. And yes, we wear double pluggers all the time.
That would be one of the biggest upsets of the year if the Kangas got over Collingwood tomorrow.
Yeah. Look forward to hearing you next time you're in Darwin. Thank you.
Next week?
Next week, yep. I'm staying for the week.
All week?
Yeah.
Try the view.
Yeah. Centre bounce. Secondary stoppage clearance for the Bulldogs. Dale hands it to Daniel. They're getting a roll on now, perhaps. He kicks inside 50. Collins does the spoiling for the Suns. Long, the local, ex-local, does the roving. He kicks it from fullback out to the wing. Roved by Rose. It's another of the Darwin connection. Hands it to Witts. Rush kick to half forward. King and Liam Jones tangle. Ball bounces away from them. Dale arrives. Tackled off it by Holman. Ball spills free. Picked up by Lukosius. Outside of the boot kick. He's doing everything right tonight.
Smart, wasn't it?
He hits Ainsworth in the corridor, 45 metres out.
There's 4 Suns players standing about 35 metres out from goal. That's incredible. And Ainsworth is going to go back and have a shot, but he could have picked one of 4 Suns players there to get the ball 10 metres closer to goal. Let's hope he kicks the goal.
Talking about wristbands and sweat, Joel, and the skill of Jack Lukosius there.
Almost on the outside of his football.
Yeah, and intentionally so as well, Jamo. Ainsworth has already got one tonight. 50 out, roosts it with his right. It's hit behind post on the full. Out of bounds. Free kick to the Bulldogs in the left back pocket.
And there's no great breeze here tonight. The flags are straight down. But generally, the scoring end is down to the airport end or down to our right. The Bulldogs have got the scoring end at this point in time.
Dogs 2 short kicks. Geray's got it still in the back line. Now runs to half-back, kicks long from the inbound. Andrew at the back of the pack for the Suns. Takes the mark. His play on. A kick floater gathered by Davies. Hand passes it back to Fiorini from the wing. Left foot kick to half forward for the Suns. King flew, no mark. Lukosius again roves and toe pokes it dangerously, but Jones protects the drop. That was Anderson on that occasion. My apologies. Lukosius was the target of the kick, and Jones protects the drop to take the mark for the Bullies.
Just caught in front, wasn't he? Just Lukosius couldn't push back on Jones just to get into the contest.
Long kick to right half back. Coming in from the side, fly from O'Brien. Can't take the mark. Ground level. Williams arrives, can't pick up for the Bulldogs. It's then locked up near the boundary. Strong tackle applied by O'Brien on Ainsworth. Ball up, right half back for the Bulldogs. Left half forward for Gold Coast. 15 the lead to the Suns early third term. English taps down at ruck time. Libba's got no space at the coalface. Somehow got a hand pass to Dale. Gave it to McRae. Under pressure, a hoping left foot kick. It's a bomb league style towards the wing. Punch back to half back for the Dogs.
Nothing
straight to Williams. He kicks it, in fact, no one to go to. Yep, you're right. Ugle Hagen was the target. Fisted away from him by Andrew.
And that's the modern game. Ballard was just sitting back there across half-back by himself. No one within 30 or 40 metres. So instead of kicking it long, turning it over, they go short out to a 45 contest. And here's a ball up. They get to set up again. Lobs move back. Norton's move back. They're inside forward 50.
Both clubs here too, Q, just waiting for interchange players to go on. The AFL there are keeping an eye on it too. I just can't see how the Kangaroos got it so wrong last week.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, Des Crow, thinks it's an absolute disgrace. He reckons that it's incredible that they didn't do Year 12 matric.
Crazy things can happen on footy benches. You guys know better than I do, but it was a very costly blunder. The ball's still on the wing. We've had a couple of stoppages make it a third in a row. It's the Suns 8-3-51 to the Bulldogs 5-6-36. Half-time in the Wests. The Bombers lead by 4 goals over the Eagles. Now we get a clearance. Anderson a toe poker into attacking 50 for the Suns. Duray is accosted by Casbolt illegally. Levi's whacked him over the year-old. Free kick to Taylor Duray.
He's looking at the umpire and saying, well, hang on, if I whack him over the ear, is that the same as when I get whacked over the ear?
Yeah, didn't get a free kick before half-time. They switch it out to left, half back to the Dogs. O'Brien marks, kicks it to English in space. The big man can gallop along the concourse on the outer side, draws a man and hand passes to Richards. Runs the wing, left foot kick to half forward for the Dogs. Lob was led to it by Collins. Lob, though, wins the road. Hand pass, got it from Scott to Ugelhagen. Can't pick up in the pocket. 2 fumbles and over the line. Has he got the wristbands on?
Nope.
Nope. You like that one, Joel?
Well, wasn't it Campbell, the Bulldogs player, who brought the gloves out? And we saw clubs when they used to come up to the territory to wear the gloves, but they get too wet and too moisture, and then it's actually more slippery than before.
Dogs in attack. Boundary throw-in went over the ruckman. Fiorini at the back for Gold Coast. Hacks it clear, but straight to Liam Jones. Marks forward to the wing. Bangs it back into attack for the Bulldogs to the pocket. Collins in front of Ugelhagen. Can't mark. Ugelhagen roves. He's tackled over the boundary line by Long, and we'll see another throw-in, same spot.
Is it a silly question? Has anyone ever wore long sleeves up here?
It is a silly question, but the answer is yes.
Is that right?
The answer is yes, of course. A lot of the guys from the Tiwi Islands, not that they wear long sleeves, but they won't even use the air-conditioned benches during the quarter-time and half-time breaks because it cools them down too much.
Rod Jamieson and Joel Bowden with you. Boundary throw-in. Dogs out the back with a hand pass. McRae to Scott. 2 steps, bang off his left from 50 to the goal line. Norton marks and is paid the goal. He played on. There was a quick sort of dink on the boot. Oh, did I push him away from it? No. Ump says fair call. Important goal for the Bulldogs. Norton's first of the night. They've kicked 2 in a row. It's a single-figure margin in Darwin. Suns 8-3-51. Dogs 6-6-42.
Well, Aaron Norton, you know how dangerous he is and the target, and he's the focus too with the Western Bulldogs go-to. He kicked 1 goal last week, and that's his first. And I feel that he's very lucky to stand. Just being in the square like that, both hands in the middle of the back, pushed to, I think, was it Ballard under it? And here it is here. We'll get a chance to have a look on the replay.
Look at the replay.
Right there. And he's jumped up in the air, both hands, straight in the middle of the back.
Charlie on the boundary.
Yeah, Joel might remember this. Jared Neesham played up here many, many years ago, wore long sleeves.
Yes, I didn't actually see it, Charlie, and I will take your account on that. But
the former Dockers coach.
Yeah, Jared Neesham.
There you go. Yeah, right. Centre bounce. Clearance for the Suns here. Witz taps down to Rowell, who runs to create space. His left foot kicks a bit of a hacker towards half forward. Not great. Duray meets it and he's tackled. He took him on. And the ump says no prior. He tried to break a tackle as if he was Latrell Mitchell at the Adelaide Oval next week.
Nick Holman, great tackle.
Ump said no prior. Ball up, Witz with the clearance. He hacks it to full forward. Liam Jones is holding the fort down there for the Dogs big time. Dives to take the mark, getting to the drop in front of King. From full-back, kicks to left, half-back. On the head of the pack, no mark taken. Rowell emerges with the football from ground level. Hand pass to Lukosius, who rides the tackle of Daniel to get a hand pass to Davies. From 60, high kick to the pocket. Richards flies for the Bulldogs, brings it to ground level. Williams is roving for the Bulldogs. Runs to left half back. Kicks it to the wing. Contest there, looking for Scott. Got it second time, got tackled by Powell and wrapped up, ball up. Out of wing.
Jamara has 7 marks. Mac Andrew has 6, done well in defence, and Liam Jones 6 mark.
9 points the lead to the Suns. Ruckman share it. Rowell rides a tackle of Bontempelli to hand it to Witts. He kicks it towards half forward, met by Dale, who did enough to shunt it to Smith. Rides a tackle, hands it to English. His hand pass to the wing. Bontempelli gathers on the outer wing. On his left boot from 70, drives the Dogs into attack. Target Ugle-Hagan fisted away by Collins. Roving is McPherson of Gold Coast. Clears the danger, chips it to right half back. And Rowell takes the mark for the Suns.
Great contest by Collins there. Ugle-Hagan had the advantage, and it was a good kick from Bontempelli, but he pushed her back hard and got us spoiled.
Dogs have lifted, that's for sure, as Rowell kicks to the wing. Off hands, Tommy Berry rose the pack. Kick smothered over the line by Williams. Throw in between wing and right half forward for the Suns. 9 points the lead to Gold Coast. We've travelled 13 and a half minutes of the third quarter. Suns 8-3-51, Dogs 6-6-42. Grandstand AFL, ABC Sport in Larrakia Country and Sir Doug Nichols round. Hope you're enjoying the call from Darwin.
Said the great man Michael Long on the big screen.
Witts kicks it off the ground from the boundary, throw in on the wing. Gains 30 metres for his team. Holman can't gather near the boundary, out of play.
Well, you wouldn't be surprised the Western Bulldogs were going to come back, were they, in that first half? The second quarter, really poor. Only the two behinds, and here they are now in this quarter with 2 goals.
Jamo, there's Michael Long on the big screen, just waving to the crowd. Football royalty up here, Michael Long. We've got the Michael Long Leadership Learning Centre down there to the left, the end that the Suns are kicking to.
Boundary throw, and Wakeman's underneath it. Tackled, got rid of it, stolen by Rowell. In congestion, he hopes a kick inside 50. Big pack, no mark. Ball up for grabs on attacking 50 for the Suns. Wakeman dives in again, went down as if taken high. Ump agrees. Free kick to Cody Wakeman at defensive 50 for the Bulldogs.
They've got the momentum, the Bulldogs here. They have to capitalise. If they can't get back on even terms in the next 10 minutes, and the Suns do get the momentum, then they're going to be behind the 8 ball. I don't think they'll catch up.
Simone on the text reckons Darryl White would have worn long sleeves here. The great DJ.
Darryl White bros wore long sleeves anywhere and everywhere.
Waitman kicks to the wing. High contact on Rowell, who's coming up for another touch. He'll play on. Kick the Suns back into attack. King! Almost took that. He took 95% of it. Didn't bring it to ground level. Play on, says the umpire. Rode by Geray. Gave a problem to Richards, who lost it. Stolen by Holman. Kicks it to King. He holds on to that one. Was that 15? Umpire says yes. He's paid the mark. 20 metres out, directly in front.
It's a great kick out of the pack, wasn't it, too? Just short. There were 3 Gold Coast players, and I thought he's going to try and handball over the top. Just settle down. You're 15 out. Go back. Nail it. They need it now, the Gold Coast, just to slow things down.
Kicked 1 goal 2 so far this evening, Ben King. This is must-convert range for key forwards, and he does convert. Goal ump doesn't move. And you said it, Jamo, they needed one just to stem the tide. Dogs have kicked the first 2 of this third term, but the Suns back out by 15 points. Gold Coast 9-3-57 to the Western Bulldogs 6-6-42. 16 minutes, third term at Marara Oval in Darwin.
So dominant in the second quarter, and they just needed that. You're 15 minutes in, 16 minutes into this quarter, probably didn't really look like scoring, and a bit of luck. Another clearance in a congested area, and Nick Holman, the man, comes to the bench.
Well, that
has a rest.
Inside 50 stat, gents. 46-29. Still the Dogs getting in there, attacking zone a lot.
What about this quarter, Q, could I ask?
Yes, I shall isolate for you.
Because the Bullies have been in a bit.
9-7. 9-7 to the Bullies. Nine entries for 2 goals, 1. And 7 entries for that 1 goal for the Suns. Centre bounce. It's Lobb and Casbolt doing the ruck work. Free kick to... Hold on. Anderson was running away, wanting to take the advantage. It's a Suns free kick anyway. Rowell was blocked. I don't know why Anderson couldn't take the advantage. Anyway, Rowell now kicks it to him.
I think that's one of the disadvantages with 4 umpires, because the play on and advantage is not as often.
Anderson from forward of the bullseye banks it to full forward. Off hands out the back of the pack. Lob rose for the Bulldogs. His hand pass too hot for McRae. Fumbled it. King dives in to apply the pressure. It's the top of the goal mouth. Daniel comes in for the Bulldogs at a time of need. Wins the footy. Kicks it around the boundary line. Was their intent to keep it in, or did he kick it out in the full?
Out on the full, I reckon.
Out on the full. Free kick. Anderson for the Suns. Kicks it infielder. Atkins gave it to Roses. In Darwin, Mally Roses. Oh, left foot from the right forward pocket. Hits the post. That was pretty close from a man that knows these blades of grass well. 16 the diff.
The Bulldogs are out already.
Very quick kick out towards left half back. And the Dogs trying to get going here in Darwin as Scott's taken the grab.
The advantage conversation, it was always the umpires have always said, we'll let the players dictate that, and they do, but they pull them back.
Scott's kicked to half forward. Sorry, Jamo, but Collins going back with the flight's taken a great big man mark for the Suns.
Good, hasn't he?
Very good. Him and Jones at the other end will be the key defenders dominating in the air.
Kicks back to the wing, fisted away by Gardner on a pack's head, out of play, throw in.
And it's nice to see a centre-half-back play a big game. Yeah. You'd like that. I played centre-half-back for a while. Let's pump up the centre-half-back. They don't get enough, accolades.
Chance of votes tonight?
Well,
between you two, Joel Bowden and Rod Jamieson.
I'm going Collins and Jones at the moment.
The coach has kicked 4 goals in the last quarter, you two.
He's a chance for a 1.
Clean possession. Casbolt from the throw in the wing.
Just
kicks
flashy,
it
cute.
forward to the Suns half forward line. Intercepted by Gardner. He kicks it back to the wing. And a contest. Artie Jones makes a tackle to lock it up. See a ball up.
Collins got the ball to the coaches every time.
Okay. I'm outnumbered here. I might as well give up that conversation. Thought I'd stir the pot. It's a pot too thick for my spoon. From the stoppage, McRae at the back. At half forward for the Bulldogs. That's a floating, terrible proposition with his left boot towards half forward on attacking 50. Off hands at the pack, out of play by Andrew. That gave his forwards no chance. Not quite the inverted torp. It was one in that mongrel category, wasn't it?
And McRae doesn't have much of a right foot, so he turned around and then shimmied onto his left. If he had have gone onto his right, he might have been able to get some distance.
19.5 third term. Suns by 16. Throw in attacking 50 for the Bulldogs. McPherson Rose, ineffective kick stolen by McRae of the Dogs. Hands it to Smith. His hand pass stolen by Anderson of the Suns, who whacks it 40 metres out of danger from half back to the wing, but Liam Jones is underneath it.
Great mark from the centre half back.
Jones on the wing, kicks it to the corridor, he slots it down Ugle-Hagen's pectoral region. A great pass.
Nothing Collins could do there. Nothing Collins could do there.
How about the entry from Liam Jones? This is a huge kick coming up for Jamara Ugle-Hagen on the lead. Indeed, no hope for the defenders there, and he'll have a shot from 45 out straight in front.
What I like there, he actually didn't go down the line. He actually had a look, ran inside, didn't he, too? And there was plenty of space.
Left foot kick from Ugle-Hagen after a stutter on the approach, but he's kicked the goal. Dogs have kicked 3-1 in this third term. And 10 points is the margin in favour of Gold Coast, 20.5 in this third term. It's the Western Bulldogs 7-6-48 trailing Gold Coast 9-4-58.
Well, Jamaro has his 10th disposal. He's kicked the 2-goal one, but he is now the leading possession winner in terms of marks. That's 8 for him, Liam Jones with the 7.
And the modern game has, in my view, become very one-dimensional. It's defensive. It's we set up, we go down the line, we're going to play the percentage, we're going to get a ball up in the forward 50, we're going to, work the angles. Liam Jones took a great mark on the wing. He plays on inside. He gets those extra 4 or 5 metres because of the stand rule. He hits up the full forward, leading up to 45 metres out. It was almost like the olden days.
And was able to execute what he wanted to do. There was plenty of space, but that's why if the players, when you are on the half-back line or across the back line, if you go through the middle of the ground, you see a 30-metre kick, you nail it, you're away and out.
Centre bounce clearance for the Suns. A rumble kick to half forward. Met by Roses, tackled off it by Duray. Ball spills free. Gardner over the top of it for the Bulldogs. He can't pick up. O'Brien arrives to help. He's harassed off it. Picked up by Atkins of the Suns. Hands it to Roses. He gives it to Humphrey in the pocket. Oh, we had a go, Bailey Humphrey. Just missed. That's a point near side. There was a dog felled in back play as well. And... yeah, just a point to the score. 9-5-59 to 7-6-48. As short kick in from the Bulldogs' left back pocket. It's marked by Baker. Chips it to the corridor for English, who marks. And he chips it across the face of goal to O'Donnell. Another chip to Gardner. So what's that, 4 or 5 now? They're still in the back pocket.
That's dangerous footy, isn't it?
Yeah, taking their time here, Jamo. Now here's the kick down the line to the contest from Gardner. Waitman! Third up he flew. couldn't take the mark. A ricochet to the front of the pack, rode by McRae of the Dogs. Hand pass defensively to English. Gave it back to McRae. Gives it back around the boundary line there. They're just giving the problem to someone else, Jamo. Roses makes the tackle. Says holding the ball. I didn't want to create. Can someone help me? And in the end, it was Williams who got, Duray who got caught with it. Roses made the tackle. He plays on, kicks to full forward, out the back of the pack. It's near the behind post, kept in by Humphrey. Hand pass to the top of the goal mouth. Bailey Smith for the Bulldogs has got it under pressure. Hand pass is picked up by Richard. Desperate clearing kick straight down the throat of Wicks. Dropped it. Oh, and then the clearing kick of Duray is smothered. Roses gathers it. Hand passes to Powell. He's in the pocket. His kick on goal is smothered. This is rugged stuff. Now Witts is over at 40 out. Puts his left boot to it to the top of the goal mouth. English will mark. This is where if I had my co-commentator, I'd be taking a rest, but poor old Rod Price is ill. He'll be with us next week, and I just got to keep going unless you've got something to say. Gemma!
36 players inside forward 50 for the Suns. That's why they couldn't get it out, and it is just contest footy here, one after another. Contest after contest after contest, out of bounds on the forward flank.
Thank you, Joel.
And look what happened too. Look, we talk about the Western Bulldogs are just chipping it away, and then it was just in the back half all the time. There is a turnover, holding the ball, goes back in under pressure, but Witts, he just dropped an absolute multi.
Yep.
Didn't have his wits about him.
Well, at least the Dogs are back in a coalface. They were beaten at the contest first half. Boundary throw in. Bontempelli, hand pass to Duray, got tackled, just got booed to it. Cleaned up by Waitman. Chips it to the fat side, marked by Jones. That's Artie, hands it to Smith. His kick towards Norton at half forward. Harassed off it by Ballard. Ballard picks up, he was held. Free kick. Charlie Ballard wins the free kick for the Suns at left half-back.
But the Bailey Smith kick, normally really good with his execution. It was just too high. He went short. You're right, Joel. He should have gone deep.
Ballard to a pack on the wing. Fisted to ground level. Berry over it. Waitman over him. Says ball up. Meanwhile, in the West, better give a quick score there halfway through the third term. Essendon 9-5-59 to West Coast 5-8-38.
And Thomas Berry's carrying a sore shoulder or two by the strapping, but he's holding it very gingerly.
Rao with the clearance, kick to half forward, rode by Lukosius, open 50, hands it to Holman, 50 out, bounces on 40, runs to 30, got a push in the back for good measure, but still kicks the goal. And he doubles up in game 100. Does Nick Holman. And the Suns back out by 17 points. 10-5, 65 lead, 7-6, 48. And we've had scrap and nail reefing and tugging and just all that contest, Jamo, and there was an explosion of space once the Suns found it forward.
Well, it's just class, isn't it? Matty Rao, another clearance. And what about Lukosius? Just going forward, the sidestep, the shimmy. The defenders of the Western Bulldogs couldn't go with him. And then just the inside handball. And if anything, I thought Nick Holman was actually going to take another bounce, or he should have kicked it beforehand and got run down. I think it was Ed Richards that was just zoning in on him, but all class there, Lukosius.
But let's come back to Bailey Smith's decision here, Jimmo. Yeah. So he's on the wing, he goes short to a 50-50 and there's a free kick turnover. Instead of going long to the longest possible contest he could find, if there's a turnover back there, it's 120 metres back. It's a poor decision on the half-forward flank that results in that goal.
Ball up in the middle. Centre bounce. Liberatore gives to Bontempelli, gives to McRae. Stoppage, clearance, Dogs. Hand pass to English. Gallops to 50. Kicks waywardly into attack. That went 20 metres away from the intended forwards. He was only 30 metres away from him when he kicked it.
Well, the goals are about 18 metres apart, and he's missed by 30 metres. He's missed the target by 40-odd metres, and it's out of bounds in the forward pocket.
Well, I think it was Will Powell. What happened? He'd actually come up to the contest. English wasn't prepared, so he actually had to rush the kick and ultimately did what he did.
Oh, Rowell, another stoppage clearance from the boundary thrown for the Suns. Hands it to Holman, hands it to Jeffrey. He's at defensive 50 left half back, hooks it over his right shoulder with the kick, which is punched forward by Scott of the Dogs. Holman held without the football. Says play on. O'Brien's kick is smothered, picked up by Davies of Gold Coast. Clearing kick from left half back to a 2-on-2 in the wing. Liam Jones wins it for the Bulldogs. Keeping him in it, the bearded defender. Kicks towards the forward line. Rowell intercepts, though, in front of the Bont. to mark.
He's been good, Jones. Quentin. Jeez, he's been good.
What about this guy coming up for disposal number 10? He's had 16 contested possessions, Matty Rowell. Kicks it to half forward. King's got Koo to beat. Oh, they bowled themselves over the Dogs defenders. Mopped up by Fiorini, 60 out. One out at full forward. Lukosius marks it 20 metres out directly in front. And he'll line up for number 5.
Not quite sure. Was it Tim O'Brien or Tom Liberatore? McRae, they just all went to ground.
I reckon it was O'Brien who knocked over Liam Jones and put him out of the contest. You know, friendly fire, and here we have Lukosius lining up for number 5.
He did it easy in the end, that contested mark.
He kicked 4 goals in the second quarter, Jack Lukosius. This directly in front to put the Suns out to a 23-point lead late in this third term. He's on the approach. Lukosius strikes it with his right. Ump doesn't move. Handful for Jack Lukosius in Darwin. And the Suns are out by 23 at 11-5, 71 to 7-6, 48. Rod Jamieson and Joel Bowden.
I just can't sing the praise enough of the defence of the Gold Coast at the moment too. They're just doing, ultimately the difference is they're actually attacking now from defence and getting it forward to the numbers, albeit there is some friendly fire in there, but the Western Bulldogs are actually chipping it around and going lateral across the ground, laterally, and just keeping it in that area. And you've highlighted some of the poor decisions they have made when they've gone forward.
And notwithstanding that, we've still got 3 talls in the forward line for the Western Bulldogs. Norton, Lobb and Ugle-Hagan. You go down the other end, it's more of a mobile forward. Kings are probably the biggest player down there, but the rest of them, they're mobile half forwards who are causing chaos and causing scores on the turnover. And doing it, at times, doing it too easy.
Wobbly centre bounce recalled. Now that equals Jack Lukosius' his career best, which was 5 against the...
How many S's in the
Cats? 2 in round 3. So redone centre bounce. Clearance for Anderson of the Suns. Kicks it to half forward. Comes ricocheting back to Witts in the middle. His kick is a toe poker. Berry's over it for the Suns. He's jumped on by English. And the ump's watching. Ball came out for a moment and then says ball up. And they hold on. The placard's gone up in front of us. 60 to go in the term. 60 seconds left.
Just almost the 30-minute mark.
3 goals apiece in this term. 22 was the lead at half-time to the Suns. Currently it's 23. Out the back of the stoppage, Anderson wins it for the Suns. Hands it to Long. Kicks from the wing into attack. It's a hoper and out the back of the pack. Well read by O'Brien to take the defensive mark for the Bulldogs forward of the right back pocket.
What do they do here?
Well, Liam Jones was good then. He kept King out of that contest and allowed that mark. He was terrific.
O'Brien kicks to a pack on the wing. Lobbed the target. Ballard the spoil. Roved by Scott of the Dogs. Hands it to Norton. Hands it along the ground to Waitman, who couldn't pick it up. Fumbled it over the boundary line for a throw in.
Sam Collins just lets him know.
Yep.
He said you take the wristbands off at half-time.
Well, there's still... Bont still got them on.
Dean Jones would have asked him to take him off.
Rest in peace, the Jones boy. No stop, no clearance from that boundary throw in. Daniel tackled.
Didn't it make Curtly Ambrose angry?
Well, but see, they're white wristbands and a yellow Sharon. It's not like a white cricket ball. Look at that SCG.
Wouldn't have bothered Dino.
And 7'3".
Here's Norton coming out from half forward to win it for the Bulldogs. Hand pass to Dale. Important kick forward. Marked by Lobb. 50 out. Time running out in the quarter. Decides to play on. He's got Waitman. He marks it. 30 out in the pocket and the siren and sound, I think, before he goes for his shot. So we saw the goal on the siren in the first quarter to Nick Holman. And this will just accentuate the moment for the Bulldogs and for Cody Waitman. If he kicks it, it's less than 3 goals the diff at three-quarter time. And the assignment is one that he should kick.
And it shouldn't be difficult, but a lot of players now actually do the snap in this position, don't they? So,
which you can't, because that would be playing on after the siren. Have to go straight at goal. Just to the left, Cody Waitman, 40 metres out. He likes it as soon as he hits it. And the Bulldogs kick a goal after the three-quarter time siren to set up a cracking final term at Marara in Darwin. Waitman's first. And the Bulldogs have cut the Suns' lead to 17 at three-quarter time. It's Gold Coast 11 goals, 5, 71 to the Bulldogs, 8 goals, 6, 54. Cody Waitman joins the list of goal kickers for the Bulldogs, and he's their first. He's just got the one. Ugle-Hagen's they're only multiple.
Correct.
I'll go with the Suns first. They're leading. 5 to Lukosius.
Yes.
5 to Lukosius. 4 in the second term, 1 in that quarter. 2 to Holman, 2 to King. Singles to Ainsworth, Swallow.
Correct.
And that's it. Chief Stuart Jamison helping me here too. This is fantastic.
Just making sure. 2
for Ugle-Hagen, 1 for Waitman, 1 for Smith. 1 for Scott, 1 for Norton, 1 for Williams, 1 for Daniel. Pay out on 11.571 to 8.654.
Correct weight.
Correct weight.
Gleeson, all clear.
Correct weight, all clear.
All clear. 17 points is the lead for Gold Coast at 3/4 time. A couple of minutes left in the third term in the West. Essendon 11 goals, 6.72. Lead West Coast 5.9.39. In the late finishing league and union tonight, the Chiefs have beaten the Brumbies. That's an important game in Super Rugby Pacific. Both real contenders for the title there. Chiefs have won it in Canberra by 31-21 over the Brumbies. Chiefs 31, Brumbies 21. And in the NRL tonight, earlier a victory for the Broncos over the Warriors 26-22. Late on at the Olympic Stadium in Sydney, Canberra leads South Sydney. The Raiders 30-26 over the Bunnies. A couple of minutes left there. And a reminder across the network, Wednesday night, Adelaide Oval, State of Origin 1. Make sure you don't miss it on Analog Digital or the ABC Listen app. Make sure you don't miss the last term here. 17 points to lead to the Suns. 3/4 time in Darwin. We'll be back in a moment on Grandstand AFL.
This winter, get ready for 8 weeks of cricket like you have never heard before.
One of the most dramatic mornings Test cricket you'll ever see.
The World Test Championship final.
Cullen's on his way. Coley is forward. Driving, caught by Green. Coley out for 4.
The Women's Ashes.
Beaumont, who struck on the pad, and Perry's appealing, and she's got another one. High fives for the Australian.
And a rivalry bigger than the game itself. The Ashes.
Goes and involves to Smith, who works it away. There it is. 200, and he'll take another for luck as well.
Grandstand Cricket. The Ashes.
Every ball, live and commercial-free this winter with ABC Sport.
This is the Sir Doug Nicholls Round.
On your radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app.
Bit of a startle from Caleb Daniel. Strikes it on his right boot. He claps it through. He's happy with it. And so are the Dogs fans behind the goals. And a much-needed major for the Bullies. McRae to Scott. 2 steps, bang off his left from 50 to the goal line. Norton marks and is paid the goal. He played on. There was a quick sort of dink on the boot. Oh, did I push him away from it? No. Says fair ball. Important goal for the Bulldogs. Norton's first of the night. Ben King. This is must-convert range for key forwards. And he does convert. Goal ump doesn't move. Left foot kick from Ugle-Hagen after a stutter on the approach, but he's kicked the goal. Dogs have kicked 3-1 in this third term. Rao with a clearance, kick to half forward, right by Lukosius. Open 50, hands it to Holman, 50 out, bounces on 40, runs to 30, got a push in the back for good measure, but still kicks the goal. And he doubles up in game 100. Mopped up by Fiorini, 60 out, 1 out at full forward. Lukosius marks it 20 metres out directly in front. He's on the approach. Lukosius strikes it with his right. Ump doesn't move. Handful for Jack Lukosius in Darwin. Just to the left, Cody Waitman, 40 metres out. He likes it as soon as he hits it. And the Bulldogs kick a goal after the 3/4 time siren to set up a cracking final term at Marara in Darwin.
The 2023 Sir Doug Nicholls Round.
On ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
If the Dogs want to win 6 in a row, they're going to have to come from the best part of 3 goals down at 3/4 time. Suns looking to stay attached to the peloton in this race for the top 8 in 2023. What a wonderful final term we've got coming your way on Grandstand AFL. Great to have your company on a gorgeous night in Darwin. Quentin Hull, Rod Jamison, Joel Bowden and Charlie King bringing you the action. It's the Suns 11-5-71, leading the Bulldogs 8-6-54. Suns are broken, Dogs getting final instructions. Gentlemen, a few thoughts before we get into this last quarter, which will decide what's been a fun night at the footy to this point.
Well, if we're talking cycling, I think Jack Lukosius is in yellow. He's got his domestique in Ben King and Nick Holman helping him out. But the Bulldogs are going to have to outscore the Suns by 3 goals. They're going to have to kick 5 or 6 this quarter, because let's expect that the Suns kick 2. So they're going to have to score. They're going to have to score quick. I think they have to open up their forward line. I think they're going to have to get rid of one of their talls. I think Lobb or Norton's going to have to move, and they're going to have to cause a bit of chaos down there, because now the ball is as slippery as it's going to get for the night, and it's going to be on the ground. They're going to have to manufacture goals, kick a couple off the ground, and score 5 goals in this last quarter to win.
Well, Bailey Smith has gone forward. Norton's gone down there. Hugel Hagen as well as Lobb's down there. So Waitman, who just stood up late in that quarter, and who we got there? Archie Jones is down there. So 3 and 3.
Now, Rouse had 20, Anderson 20, McRae 23, Daniel 22. That inside 50 stat is still really telling. 50 times inside 50 for the Dogs, 35 for the Suns, and the Suns are 3 goals in front, or 17 points in fact. There's another bounce that, well,
Brett Roseberry's off his game tonight.
Yeah, that one went into the Michael Long centre almost.
Well, what it be telling, the Bullies have got 20 interchanges left, 17 to the Gold Coast.
Clearance to the Dogs. McRae with a hand pass to the Bont. He kicks the Bulldogs to half forward, but intercepting is Long for Gold Coast. Hand pass doesn't create much though. Turned over. Smith picks up for the Doggies. Hands to Williams. Hands to Waitman. Has a juggle. Controls it. Hands to Artie Jones in the pocket. Banana! No. Just a minor score, Artie Jones.
Great,
would have been a
big
moment.
Great builder. I mean, Ben Long is as hard as a cat's head out there, but somehow there was another turnover and he got caught flat-footed and they ran past him. That was great play by the Dogs.
16 the diff on that banana miss from Arthur Jones. Just missed it near side as Powell runs out of the goal mouth to inbound for Gold Coast. High kick. Witts has got 3 against him. English is one of them. Oh, I've got a big piece of that. Not paid. And off the ricochet goes out of play. He looks at the ump. And the ump says, throw it in.
My hunch is if he was a full forward who let out and clunked it like that, they'd pay the mark, go back and have a shot a goal. Instead, it's on the wing. Oh, no. Throw it in. Thanks,
yeah,
guys.
Joel, different rules, different parts of the ground sometimes, isn't it?
They wouldn't pay a centre-half back that goal, that mark.
All thrown in. Witts beats English to the tap, picked up by Swallow, who boots it to the wing for Gold Coast. Ballard, Lukosha, should I say, leads out for the ball, can't mark it. Baker roves it close to the boundary for the Dogs, keeps it in. Hands it to fellow Bloodnut Richards. Hands it off to Dale. Defensive side of the wing, he kicks the Bulldogs towards half forward, off hands of the pack. Long reads it for the Suns. He kicks across the face of goal, marked by Andrew. And Big Mac providing value down back for the Suns. He's going to, he's kicked it into the man on the mark. Arthur Jones came across and smothered it. Andrew got it back. That was a bad Big Mac experience.
The outcome was good.
Towards right half back, and it's marked by Swallow. Kicks it down the line, looking for Holman. Marks in front of the leaping O'Donnell to play on Holman. Oh, he kicks it into English. It went straight back to him, though. Have another go. Hand passes it out the back to McPherson on the wing. He kicks the Suns high to half forward. Fisted away by Dale. Ball on the deck. Jones arrives for the Dogs. That's Arthur. Hands it to Gardner. Hands it to Richards. Bursts through a couple of tacklers. Hand passes through McRae to Jones to Baker. Back to McRae, who runs through the wing. He kicks it to half forward. Norton pushes Ballard out of the way to mark. 45 from goal. Won't go for the big sticks. Chips it to Ugelhagen over his head. Spoiled by Andrew. In the pocket, Bontempelli picks up his tackle and his kick smothered. Andrew picks up for the Suns, his kick semi-smothered as well. Still deep in attack for the Dogs. On the deck, Rowell has a fumble, then regathers, got tackled by Norton, got a kick clear, and Witts arrives to mark in the time of need at D50.
Not often you see 3 smothers in a passage of a play of about a minute. That's amazing desperation.
All right, Levi, what do you got?
Witts down the line to him. He just nudges English out of the way and he marks it. There you go, Jamo. What's he got? He's got a big man. Find the body, take the grab. Did it easily. His kick's not great around the wing. No, Fiorini knocked off it by Baker near the boundary line. Dogs ball. From defensive side of the wing, he kicks it back over the head of Norton. Ballard beats him pointlessly.
That is a brave...
And then a 50-metre penalty given against... Has he? Yeah. Lip and ego bruised by Aaron Norton. It's cost him a $500 because Ballard's beaten him again.
That is a brave defensive mark then too, wasn't it?
And he stepped over the mark to slow up play. And hand pass goes to Anderson. Kicked a full forward. Off the hands of the pack, Liam Jones is tackled off his attempted clearing kick by Lukosius. Dogs have got the numbers though. McRae somehow from the pocket clicks it beyond left half back. Goes to the deck, Witts roves for the Suns, hands it to Long, kicks it in the direction of Kaz Boltley, busts the pack, Holman roves, hands it to Rowell, 40 out, has a shot, he's had a big night, and he's kicked a big goal! Matt Rowell puts the Suns 22 clear, 4.5 into the final term. At 12 goals, 5.77 to 8.755.
It was just so super impressive then by the Gold Coast. They were really under enormous pressure, and then go back to where it was Charlie Ballard, who Norton just touched him up a little earlier, outbodied him, took the mark, and then went forward. But the able to do that, and you just pull your hair out. 50 metres, the penalty is massive.
It's such a penalty in a game of AFL footy, especially on the halfback flank, right? It means they're going inside 50 and it changes the dynamic. I would just say, Matt Rowell on his non-preferred off one step to put that through from about 35, 40 metres out, that is superb.
Mitch Hannon has come into the game for the Dogs, with Lockie McNeil being subbed out, I think. Just get confirmation of that shortly. Anyway, clearance for the Bulldogs from the restart. And Ballard leads Norton to the ball to take the grab. Bontempelli kicked it on the astronaut's head, but that has suited Charlie Ballard down to the ground on most occasions tonight. He is developing into a real defensive weapon for the Suns. It's a terrible kick, though. Luckily, it went straight to David Swallow. That was an instep inverted torp.
Luck is a fortune for the Suns, and now I think it's going to be difficult for the Dogs to get back.
Swallow at right half back. He kicks it towards half forward. Witts is the target near the boundary. Can't mark off, hands out of play. Score check at Marara. 22 points is the lead to Gold Coast at 12.577 to 8.755. Bombers at the start of the final term lead West Coast 11.672 to 5.939. Is this our mate with the boundary throw-in?
God.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. Hoiked in. Witts in front of English. Taps it down to McPherson. Gold Coast clearance. Hacked ball towards half forward. It's been tapped out of play by Scott. Boundary throw-in.
What a great spot there, the commentary, with that boundary throw-in.
Well, was there any intent to keep the ball in?
None.
Do they pay that ever?
No. Always.
Rod Jamieson and Joel Bowden enjoying the commentary with Quentin Hull and Charlie King here.
Rock, paper, scissors?
Yeah, it's a bit like that. Witts beats English with the knuckle. No rover for him, though. Bailey Smith gets there. It's tackled off it. Rowell emerges again. Defensive side of the pack for the Suns. Up and under, kick to half forward. Punched away by Bontempelli, who chases up. Doesn't have to apply pressure for Lobb to come in for the Bulldogs. He shunted it to Liberatore. Rush kick to half forward. Andrew was underneath it for the Suns but dropped it. There is the injected sub, Hannon. Had a fumble. He hasn't got wristbands, by the way. He's lost the ball. Kicked forward by Swallow of the Suns to half forward. Off the pack. Clever hand pass from Anderson to Holman. He's already got two. He won't get through with that kick. It's off the side of the boot. He had an open goal mouth. He mishit it terribly. It's out of bounds on the full.
And Quinton, the ball's now just bouncing out, slipping out of the hands. You can see this extra bit of moisture. And I know I said before it's cold in Darwin. It is for us locals. But the extra humidity, the ball's just slipping out and bouncing out of the packs.
Jones kicks it in well, though. Marked by Williams at right half back. Chips it short to McRae. Dogs have got it at D50. They trail by 22 points on this 5-game winning run. McRae kicks out towards the outer wing. Logg's got a couple to beat, can't beat them. Long, along with Ballard, conspire to beat him. Long won the footy, kicks to half forward. Berry wins the ricochet, he's 50 out, kicks it to full forward. A bit of a rush kick, it goes beyond Lukosius, taps it behind his body, hoping for some help by Brian. First to meet it though for the Dogs, he's tackled. They've got a hand pass to Liam Jones from full-back, his kick. Can't find Bailey Smith at half-back, tapped away from him by Jeffrey. Boundary throw-in, D50 for the Dogs left half back, attacking 50 for the Suns right half forward.
I just thought Lukosius was great then. I think the kick was intended for him. It was missed him, but he kept it in and relied on King and Levi just to apply the pressure and the tackling, and here they are just outside their 50.
55 metres from that southern end goal, the airport end here at Marara. Witts to the front of English again. Tapped it down to Rowell again. Snap inside 50. Clean bowls Duray. Out the back. Lukosius had it and dropped it. Holding the ball. Good tackle from... it is Richards. Good tackle from Richards. Forward to full back. Dogs have got to get a move on. 22 points the deficit.
Matty Brown, was it 3 or 4 clearances in this quarter?
He's
alone?
up to 14 for the game. I'll give you that stat in a moment, Jamo. Kick from Richards, looking for lob off hands. Oh no, there's going to be a free kick. Fiorini pushed Scott in the back.
He hasn't disbanded the wristbands yet, the young fella.
Just trying to go for that isolated stat for the term. Raoul's got officially 2 clearances this quarter, Jamo.
Yeah, I think that's wrong.
14 for the game. The next best is 8 for Bontempelli.
There's a start. And
Scott kicks it to a pack on the wing. Here's the Bont. Hand pass clear of the congestion, but to no one in particular. Witts overran it, but did enough to then hold up play to allow Anderson to pick up for the Suns. Hands it to Lukosius. Rush kick. Intercepted by Dale on the wing for the Bulldogs. He marks, plays on immediately. Kicks to full forward. Andrew punches it away from the intended targets. It's on the deck. Inside attacking 50 for the Bulldogs. Kicked off the ground by McPherson. He gets it to left half back. He picks it up. Beautiful hand pass over his head to Powell, and the Suns are out of trouble for time being. Powell kicks it to who? Joel Bowden?
Liam Jones at centre half back takes another great mark.
Kicks it to the middle of the ground looking for McRae. Got a push in the back. Will get himself up quickly and hand pass to Richards. He's got no one in front of him. Runs to 60. Kicks deep for the Bulldogs. Who's there? Through the hands of Bontempelli for a point. A rushed point for the Dogs, 21 the diff.
And the Dogs are going to have to go fast at every opportunity. They're going to have to play on, and then what will happen in the next 5 or so minutes? There'll be a turnover, there'll be an unforced error. The Suns will whoosh it away and they'll kick an easy goal, and all the energy will just be taken out of the Dogs, and that's it. She's all over.
12-5, 77 to 8-8, 56-21 the diff. Long kick into a packet left half back from the Suns inbound. No mark. It's Hannon hand passing defensively to O'Brien. Kick towards attacking 50. Williams couldn't pick up for the Bulldogs. It's taken away by Long. His kick across half back, not great. Oh, Richard, it was Jeffrey, in fact. Richards had a go. Couldn't pick it up. On the deck, McRae gathers 50 from goal. Hands it to English. His kick smothered by Berry. It comes back to English. Hand passes from Scott to Smith. Bailey Smith off a step. Ooh. Misses to the right from 45 metres out. These are these opportunities, gentlemen, that need to go through for the Dogs. 20 the diff at 77 to 57.
It's even in scoring shots. So 12 goal 5 to 8 goals 9. It's just conversion.
Andrew goes big with the kick in. Beyond right half back to a pack. No mark. Rowell again mopping up. Right to tackle. It was high contact. He'll get a free kick. Oh, this grass-fed prime beef football specimen.
Jumpers in, socks down.
He beetroots up at the best of times, Matt Rowell. He really gets purple when he plays in Darwin. But boy, he's in the pink tonight, isn't he? Kicks it to the wing. Casbolt can't mark. Oh, Berry got upended by English. Play on. Kick inside 50 for the Suns. On the head of King. Can't mark under pressure from Gardner. Keeps it in though, King. Has a ping from the pocket. It's a roller to the goal mouth. Last line of defence. It's gathered though by Williams of the Bulldogs. Hand pass goes to Dale. Dale from the pocket. Kicks it to half back. Scott takes the mark. Late attention from Person. 50-metre penalty. 50-metre penalty.
I like the contest though. Just arriving a little bit late. Lob's just come on. O'Donnell's come on, but they've gone out wide to Caleb Daniel.
Scott short to Daniel, forward to the wing, kicks it wide, a very wide entry. Gathered by Waitman on the bounce in the pocket, sells a dummy to the boundary line, runs infield and snaps with his left. Just across the face. Everything but the major result. That was beautiful deception and footwork from Waitman. But a point, 8-10, 58. Trails 12-5, 77-19 the difference.
He only needs half a yard, doesn't he? And he can do something. That was brilliant, turning back in onto his left foot. Just missed it by a 15th.
13 and a half played final term. No pressure on Powell to run to the pocket and boom it long almost to the wing. Andrew, the target, can't mark. Through his fingers, lob out the back for the Dogs. A no-look Hoper back inside 50. Rolls out of play for a throw-in, 40 from goal.
And it's been a bit fumbling away. That's what he has been, Cody, tonight. Like, again, the conditions are. He's normally reasonably clean on that occasion. In tight around the boundary. Really clean.
Rod Jamieson and Joel Bowden with Quentin Hull on Grandstand. AFL through ABC Sport. Dogs kicked the first 3 goals of the game, but the Suns have pretty much been in control second half onwards. From the throw-in, Smith underneath rides a tackle of Davies to get a hand pass to O'Brien. Chip inside 50, short of Waitman, short of Long. Both stumble to punch it clear. Atkins arrives, gathers, got tackled by the Bond over the line. They tango. Oh, and the umpire says holding the ball.
Holding the ball.
Holding the ball against Rory Atkins. Free kick to Marcus Bontempelli. Man on the mark's 51 metres from goal, right on the boundary at left half forward. And there's a dozen men in the goal mouth. Bontempelli kicks it on their heads. Lob flies, got a touch, can't mark. Casbolt taps at boundary side for the Suns. Roved by Swallow. Kick gains 30 metres around the boundary line. Cleverly tapped in, though, by the Bulldogs. Baker got it to Smith. Smith's kick inboard, stolen by Humphrey of the Suns. He gives it to Roses. Watch out, they're out. Down the corridor at half back. It's McPherson's kick. He's turned it over, though. Kicked it to the wing. Williams gets in the hole and wait on.
50 metres.
There's a 50-metre penalty here against someone. This will put Bailey Williams in scoring range. Ben Ainsworth's got his hands out as if he's the one offending for stepping over the mark. So Williams, from the edge of the centre square, now goes to within, well, the mark is 20 metres from goal. What a big play this is.
Well, they were out. If he had kicked it long down the corridor, they were out. He decided to go out to the wing, got chopped off, and now we have almost, I'll say, a certain goal.
Williams for his second. He kicks the goal and keeps the Dogs in it. 13 points the difference. Approaching 16 minutes final term at Marara. Gold Coast 12-5-77. Western Bulldogs 9-10-64.
Just couldn't work out what it was for, though.
Did he step over the mark, Gemma? I think that's the only thing I could see.
Yeah, but you're right. I did all the hard work, wasn't it, too? Just to come through the middle, miss the target, and then give away a 50 as well.
And they're those small, at-the-margin decisions. You know, like here I have a chance to go long down the middle to break this game open, or play a little bit safe, go out wide, and the Dogs chopped it off, and we don't know exactly what that was for, that 50, but it's a 50-metre penalty that changes the context of the game, and all of a sudden the Dogs are within 3 kicks and they've got 15 minutes.
20 more inside 50s and 16-8 frees in favour of the Bulldogs.
Which taps down to Anderson at the centre bounce clearance. Suns kick to Harwell, didn't even get to half forward. Dale's too high for his attack on the injected sub Farah. Just out there, Atkins has been subbed out for the Suns. Jai Farah with his right boot will kick Gold Coast to full forward. King's got 3 to beat. Knuckle came from Gardner. Volleyball won by O'Donnell of the Dogs. Hands it to Lobb, hands it to English, hoping clearance. Waitman nudged under it by Long, couldn't mark, but roved by McPherson of the Suns. Hands it to Humphrey, 50 out. He's a busy footballer. He kicks it back to full forward, but the Dogs are there aplenty. Marked by English in the last line of defence. Plays on, kicks to right half back. Baker takes the grab, and the Wilston Grange gorilla from Queensland runs away. He's on right half back. He kicks it down the wing. Ballard just nudges his man away from the ball.
Amazing mark.
Scott was the target, and Ballard beat him all ends up.
So back yourself in.
Takes the grab forward of left half back. He'll kick the Suns back towards half forward and a big pack. Off hands, English plays roving roll, but he's nudged off it by Roses. Roses then overran the football, then runs into English to tackle him. High! That's a hard thing to do.
Actually, he did really well, didn't he, Roses, there? Just English was away. Great tackle, bring it to ground.
And that English went to ground and Roses copped him high. Free kick, Tim English is trying his bit to keep the Dogs in it. 13 points the lead to the Suns. 18 minutes final term.
Have to be brave in the middle.
Kick towards the centre of the ground. They went backwards and then O'Donnell's kick not great. Stolen by Humphrey of the Suns. 70 out. Gives to Rowell. Rowell's chip's good for Casbolt. 60 metres out. Levi doesn't go for goal. Kicks it over the head of Anderson. Nowhere near him. Liam Jones read it and bursts off the back pocket. Takes the mark. Kicks to the wing. Target there was Hannon. Couldn't mark. Arriving is Artie Jones. Bouncing off tacklers. Farrah's got him holding the ball. And the Dogs fans don't like that.
And you just see these fresh legs, Quinton. So Farrah's come on, local lad from NT, fresh legs. He's up and about, and he's able to chase down and put on a huge tackle. And he's just shown some fresh legs in the last quarter. Really helps.
And Ben Long, how good was that effort?
Kicks it to the pack. Hasbolt drops it, rowed by Davies. Rush kick inside 50, straight to the Bulldogs. Marked by O'Brien, forward of full back. Chips it short to Richards. Richards plays on and wants to take on the corridor. Runs to centre half back. Just gets his left boot to it before the tackler arrives. Farah rises in a three-man pack. Got it. No, that was Rose's. Jeffrey, should I say. Get it right third time. Almost marked it. Ball comes free. Waitman tangles with Powell close to the boundary line. Waitman held. Free kick.
Go quick, son. Go quick.
He does from 70 to the leading Ugle. Clean clunk mark. 40 out straight in front. And Jamara Ugle-Hagan, who's kicked 2 goals already tonight, is a chance to make it a 7-point ball game with a set shot at the 20-minute mark of the final term.
Sam Collins, he's been so good tonight, he just couldn't go. Matty Rao came across and...
No angle to speak of. 45 out, Ugle-Hagan! He's kicked it! He's got a third!
It is on like Donkey Kong here at Marara.
7 points is the lead to the Suns at 12-5-77 to 10-10-70. Jamara Ugle-Hagan's third keeps the Dogs' quest for 6 in a row intact.
Well, the Bulldogs have just worked so hard to get themselves back into this game, haven't they? 2 goals in this quarter. The Gold Coast have only kicked the 1, but it was going to take something like they had to try and they have to run out of the defence. And they got the football back at the Gold Coast because they came through the middle of the ground and they missed their target. So they're going to open up and there's going to be opportunities too. But Liam Jones, once again, it's darted backwards and forwards since that particular moment. But there's been some glimpses of just outstanding play.
You said Liam Jones, Jamo. He was terrific down there. I think he set the whole thing up.
6.5 minutes of playing time left. Centre bounce. English tapped it down. Bontempelli knuckles at the half forward. Met by Artie Jones. Scoops it up. Hands it to McRae. Hand pass wide to the half forward flank for Baker. Dogs have got it. Baker from 70. High hoping kick to full forward. Watch out. There's a free kick before it arrives. It's going to Waitman in the pocket. Free kick, Bulldogs, Cody Waitman. Now, I was watching the flight of the ball. Anyone catch what happened?
Ben Long is the player that's actually caused the free.
Must have obstructed his run at the ball. Big kick for Waitman. Tough angle, 40 out. To make it a point the difference. He is running. He is celebrating as soon as he kicks the ball. It's through. The Dogs have got 3 in a row and it's a 1-point thriller in the territory. 77 Suns, 76 Bulldogs, 5 minutes and 47 seconds left.
Q, you saw this last week. It was Brisbane and the Gold Coast too, wasn't it? And Brisbane piled on 6 goals in that last quarter. I think Gold Coast only the 1. They need to find a way. They have to manufacture something. They've been so good. Matty Rao, he's been tremendous to lift them up. David Swallow, Witts is getting a bit touched up in the middle around the ground by English from time to time, just with his ability to be able to get hold of the football and then run and spread. So Witts is trying to get behind the footy and they're going through English.
Talk about the celebration. Waitman was off to the races as soon as it struck his boot. Centre bounce. Witts gets that clearance though, Jamo. Nudged his opponent away from it. Toe pokes it to half forward. Lob though arrives. He's tackled fiercely. He's too fiercely tackled. Slung by the defender. Farah was it? Yep, free kick. He hand passes to Dale. Dale gives to Bontempelli. Kicks the Bulldogs to the spaces of left half forward. It pitches in front of Williams and Fiorini. They get there at the same time. Fiorini gathers it and he's tackled over the line. Boundary throw in. Left half forward for the Bulldogs. What a thriller on Grandstand AFL in Darwin. It's the Bulldogs with the last 3 goals, narrowing this Suns lead, which was 22 points earlier in the term. It's now just a point that if. And the Doggies chant goes around Marara. Throw in. Witts and English. Palm it to the front. Rowell dragged off it without the ball by Daniel. Ump lets it go. At the cold face coming through Jeffrey for the Suns to knock it to Witts. Gave to Humphrey his tackle but gave the hand pass to Jeffrey. Ball stayed in apparently. Kicks it down the wing. It looked like it was beyond the paint. Boundary Ump was there. Said no. Casbolt underneath it. Can't mark. Geray's tackled. And is held up by Holman. Ball up.
I hate to say this, Quentin, but we have got a very good sight of the line here. That ball looked like significantly over, and they're the smallest of margins in these AFL games. But if there's a ball up on that, that's inside 50 for the Western Bulldogs.
No clearance there as Dale's tackled over the line. Boundary throw in just forward of halfway for the Suns. A point the difference. What a day of footy we had. Hawthorn upsetting St Kilda. The Dockers upsetting the Demons. The Giants upsetting the Cats. Bombers, as expected, doing as they'd won against the Eagles in the West. They lead by 59 there, but it's a point that if in Darwin as Dale gets the stoppage, kicks it from left half back with the Bulldogs to the wing. Free kick to Waite, the advantage taken by Hannon. Runs to half forward. Shinzi's kick into attack. Gathered by Norton. He hands it back to Hannon. Hard in the left forward pocket. Doesn't go for goal. Snaps it across the face. And it bounces favourably for Lobb. Keeps it in. Hand pass to Scott. Tackled by Andrew. He got the Big Mac treatment there and he's held up in the pocket.
Oh dear,
Ball
that
up.
was 2 all beef patties on top. Smashed him.
Oh, that was the lot. That was a whopper more than Big Mac. It's going to be a ball up in the right forward pocket for the Bulldogs. Out the back, guess who? Rowell with a clearance towards left half back and a pack of players off hands. Important bounce here. Holman got it. By hands to Ainsworth. Suns are clear. Hands it to Powell. Gave it off to Humphrey. Rides a tackle. Hands it to Ainsworth. Rush kick towards half forward. Down the throat of
guess who?
Liam Jones. What a game he's had. The bearded defender for the Bulldogs. He plays on from right half back. Suns by a point. Long kick to half forward. Suns mark. Swallow did well to nudge Lobb underneath it. Dave Swallow takes the grab with 3 minutes and 40 seconds left and his team clinging to a 1 point lead and clinging, so it may be said, to almost its chances of making the finals here at 4 and 6. Kick to the wing, off hands no mark, rove by Liberatore over the Dogs, kicks it back to half forward. Andrew flies, double grabber, paid it? Yes.
Oh, he's going to pay it.
Paid it. He was the first touch on the spoil. He fell in his lap, he takes the grab.
Now this is not his strength either too, he's kicking tonight.
Andrew with his right boot from defensive 50, kicks it long to the outer wing. Jones flies the pack to fist it at ground level. Casbolt kicks off the ground though for the Suns. Farrah's a chance at half forward. He wins the football 60 out. Kicks it into the pocket. Lukosius can't mark. It rolls to the goal mouth. And it got to the goal line. Lukosius couldn't kick it nor control it. It's rushed through for a point. It's a point to double the Suns' lead. 78 plays 76.
Straight down the middle of the ground. He's gone for the Bont on Witts.
Centre of the
Big
ground.
flash.
Bont taps it down. Rao though roves it, hands it to Powell. 60 out. Kicks back to Lukosius in the square. Can't mark. Says play on. Road by Humphrey. Here's Humphrey to put the Suns 8 points clear.
Well, Lukosius is hobbling. I think he ran into the goalpost in the previous point. He's picked himself up. He's a yellow jersey holder right now. He brings the ball to ground and Humphrey, amazing, from the boundary line, snaps it through the wrong way. He was snapping it away from the goal and somehow managed to, Peter Dacos-like, slide it through the goals.
And Bailey Williams was going down the middle of the ground. He was looking for the Bont, and the Bont was going to his left side, and Jared Witts has come the other way. He's won the football back. Gold Coast have gone forward, and all his teammates just got around Jared Witts and just said well done for just taking the contest, which he had to do.
So 8 points is the difference now. Bailey Humphrey is really announcing himself to the competition. His first of the night, 13.583, plays 11.10.76, 2 minutes and 31 seconds of playing time left. Time enough for the Bulldogs to kick 2 goals if they are good enough. Big centre bounce here, Witts with the tap down. Who's at the coalface? There's a whistle. Gold Coast free kick against McRae for holding on to.
Slow it down, Rouse. Slow it down.
Matt Rao.
Monster last quarter.
Coming up for touch 29. Kicks the Suns to half forward. Casbolt presents but can't mark. Free kick in the pack going to the Dogs. It is going to be taken by Gardner. Doesn't like the boundary. Hand passes back to Liam Jones on D50. Kicks the Bulldogs to a pack on the wing. Norton flies. Got a first touch. Can't mark. Roving is Daniel. Tackled by Holman. He tackled him all right. It's a ball up. It's a ball up on the wing. 2 minutes left. Suns lead it by 8 points on
King's going into the back line. He's sliding to play the loose man in defence and try and lock this game down for the next 2 minutes.
McRae at the foot of the pack kick, doesn't really clear it, picked up by Bontempelli, hand pass to Bailey Smith, hands it to Libba, front of the pack, he kicks the Dogs to attacking 50, Ballard flies, taps it down, no rover though, it's Norton from 40 on his right, snaps to an open goal mouth, how's the bounce? The bounce is good! The bounce is brilliant!
What's the umpire going to say here? He's having a review. He's unsure.
Well, Powell went back. He's the nearest son. There will be a committee between field ump and goal ump and a review. And the clock stops with 1 minute and 38 seconds left. If it's a goal, it's a 2-point game.
On the line, all the players are setting up like it's going to be a kick-in.
But the goal ump, the umpire has said, I think, if my eyes are correct, he said the goal umpire has called it a goal.
Here we go. It's coming up on the big screen. It's a point.
One behind.
It's a point. 7 is the difference at 11-11-77, trailing 13-5-83.
So he's either got his hand to it or it's hit the back of the goalpost.
It hit the post, apparently.
Well, not one Suns player is in their forward half. They're just going to knock this down and have 13 ball-ups in a row.
Kick to a pack at half-back. Off hands, Liberatore, Robes, tackled by Rouse, somehow spewed it to O'Brien. Kick doesn't clear the congestion. It's 70 metres from the Bulldogs' goal. Rouse there again to lock it up. Ball up's the call, 1 minute and 22 left. 7 the difference. It's got to be a goal here from the Dogs to be any chance. 2 or 3 stoppages, that ends the contest. Free kick here. At the stoppage, Gold Coast free kick. It's Jared Witts who was held by English in the ruck. And here's the chance for the Suns to try and manage the game clock.
He does not want to be kicking through the
ground.
He
kicks it down the line to a contest. Out the back. Oh, Rouse half a chance, couldn't pick up. Bontempelli does, runs into a tackle. Dropped it, holding the ball. Even the Bont couldn't get through the clutches of David Swallow.
Slow down, Suns. Slow down.
They should be home now, Joel. There's inside 50 seconds to play. And Swallow from the wing kicks Gold Coast to half forward. Casbolt takes a mark, 60 from goal.
He's gone for Farah, is it?
He's going to kick it to the pocket, and he finds his man. It is Jai Farah, the injected sub. A man that knows these parts well is going to take all allotted time before having a shot on goal.
Well, Levi.
He's not going to have a shot on goal. He kicks it backwards to Anderson. Time ticking away. Anderson, 70 out. He's going to boom it to full forward. It is of little consequence now. Out the back of the pack, no mark. Siren sounds. Suns win in Darwin. They end the Doggies' 5-game winning streak and they keep their top 8 aspirations alive. Gold Coast 13-5-83. Bulldogs 11-11-77.
We are the sons of the Gold Coast sky. We are one in the red, gold and blue. We are the mighty Gold Coast Suns. We play to win the flag for you. Fight, fight, fight till we hold on the top. Run, run, run all the way. Hey! We are the sons of the Gold Coast sky. We're the team who never say die. Hey!
13 goals, 6-84. Beats 11-11-77. Suns win it by 7 points. The Bulldogs kicked the first 3 goals of the game, led by 2 points at quarter time. Suns the only 4 goals in the second term to lead by 22 at half time. 17 the diff in favour of the Suns at 3/4 time. Dogs got within a point, never hit the front, but Gold Coast win it by 7. That final score, 13-6-84 to 11-11-77.
We are the sons of the Gold Coast sky. We are one in the red, gold and blue. We are the mighty Gold Coast Suns. We play to win the flag for you. Fight, fight, fight till we hold on the top. Run, run, run all the way. Hey! We are the sons of the Gold Coast sky. We're the team who never say die.
Well, the Dogs have had that 5-game winning run broken. And they're now 7 wins and 4 losses, still well ensconced in the 8. They've got their next 5 games at Docklands, but will rue a night where they went inside 50, 65 times to 48, but got beaten by 7 points in the end. And for the Suns, well, they stay here for the week. They've got the Crows this time next week, and they stay in the fight for a first ever finals appearance at 5 and 6. Joel Bowden and Rod Jamieson, what a night at the footy.
Oh, it's incredible how they just gutsed it out, particularly after the start that the Western Bulldogs did, didn't they? They jumped and they had 3 goals on the scoreboard before the Gold Coast even got a look in. They just manhandled it back. And then the way they went, and Jack Lukosius in that second quarter with his 4 goals going in up 22 points, 17 at 3-quarter time, and probably just limped across the line in that last quarter. But Matty Rao, that was an incredible last quarter, and we've just had a quick look at his clearances. He's ended up with 16 for the game.
Last quarter, 9 disposals, 7 contested, 4 clearances.
What a game. He was just sensational. And Tom Liberatore went to him in that latter part of that last quarter, but so impressed with multiple players for the Gold Coast that I don't get to actually see a whole lot of, but some tremendous talent coming through.
Well, I was going to use the cycling analogy that you had, Quentin.
Yeah,
because, well, it was as if the Dogs went out early on the sprint, but it was a hill stage. And the Suns just started to climb and started to climb and started to climb. There was a bit of a descent when the Dogs came back. But they gutsed it out, and they had some mountain climbers. They not only got the polka dot jersey, they had the yellow jersey, and here they are. They go over the points. They now go to 20 points. They're in this middle mix in the from 6 to about 12. Where if they actually continue this form and play Adelaide here next week, they could set their season up. But Lukosius was definitely the standout in the second quarter. 4 goals in a quarter. Gave them that lift, and the Dogs didn't score a goal in that second quarter. They were, downhill skiing early, but all of a sudden the mountain stages came in, and up to Mount Ventoux, I think the Suns were victorious at the summit.
Well, Ben King continues to present like he did. Levi Casbolt at times stood up when he had to. So the bigger brigade, but Jared Witts, just that contest in the middle where he had to win the football back, and I think that the team saw the value of what it was to be able to get the result to go back over their head and score a goal.
Yeah, I thought Witts was good all night, but I actually think up here in the Territory, with the conditions, the Dogs played too many big blokes. They didn't have enough on the ground to deal with the ball that's just a little bit more slippery. I mean, Anthony would know from Knightley Football Club. He's always said this to me, that the balls on the ground are much more in the Territory. It turns over more. When Port Adelaide would come up here, or when Adelaide come up, you're playing a ground ball. And it's these wristbands, I think, that got the Dogs in the end.
Well, I'll just give the score from Perth. It's over. West Coast going down by, a relatively, and I say relatively with all due respect, acceptable 50 points. Just 50 tonight against the Bombers. Yeah. Essendon 14-12-96, West Coast 6-10-46. Important win for the Bombers. I'll get some more details there in a moment, but Essendon successful there. 3 goals for Kyle Langford, 2 for Hobbs, 2 for Menti, 2 for Snelling. 32 possessions for Merritt, leading the way for the Bombers. Oscar Allen kicked 4 goals for West Coast, 35 for Liam Duggan, but Essendon winning by 50 points, 14-12-96 to West Coast 6-10-46 here, 7 the diff at 84-77. I didn't give the goal kickers. Lukosius kicked 5. 4 of them in the second quarter it was.
Yep.
2 for Holman, 2 for King, singles to Ainsworth, Rowell, Humphrey, Swallow, and I think that's it. 3 for Ugelhagen, 2 for Waitman, 2 for Williams, singles to Smith, Scott, Norton and Daniel. So Dogs 7-4, Geelong next week at Docklands, which is the start of 5 Docklands games in a row for the Bulldogs. Gold Coast have got Adelaide here. They'll stay here for the week. And, boy, that'll be some game, because this is an Adelaide town, Jamo, as you know, even though the Suns have now been allocated this as their development and recruiting zone. But forever more, Andrew McLeod and others have ensured, and your lot and success early on made sure that this was Crows territory. It'll be some scene here next week.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And Adelaide need to don't they? They need a big win. Well, they've actually got to get over Brisbane tomorrow at home. You'd think after that performance last week at Ballarat, they were really disappointed as to how the Bullies got over them. And now they've got to take on Brisbane, who are in a reasonable form themselves before they come up here and get the job done.
If you've got a thought, we'd love to hear it before we go off air. 0437 774 774. Mark in Adelaide says, I wonder if 3 matches today ended in a 7-point margin.
Well, a couple of just the results.
Yeah, you're right.
Defeated Melbourne.
So Dockers, Wallylap over Naarm by 7. GWS over Geelong by 7. And
today,
Suns over the Dogs by 7. Yeah, thank you, Mark. Not the greatest game by Holman for his 100th, but a proud family. And his mum would be super proud. From Sam Holman in Echuca. Good on you, Sam. What's your relation? Let us know. 0437 774 774. He kicked 2 goals.
His defensive work tonight was tremendous. It really was. Like the pressure he applied, they might have a view on how he performs as being a family member, but certainly I thought he was great.
A few more choice numbers. So in the end, the Bulldogs had 44 more possessions, 365 to 321. Clearances, 42 apiece. Hit-outs, Gold Coast won that stat, 56 to 33, but to advantage plus 8. Tackles, Suns 14 more. That'll please Stewie Jew. Bulldogs 18 more inside 50s at 66 to 48.
Well, yeah, Quentin, they say that the stats don't lie, but I
thought it was hips don't lie from
Shakira. But the Dogs couldn't convert. That the ball kept on going inside 50, and there were 25 to 30 players inside 50, and therefore they're not able to score. The oval is not that big to have 30 players inside 50. Conversely, it goes down the other end. The Suns are converting at 50% at one stage there. They're taking it down 10 times, and they'd had 5 scoring shots. On top of that, it was that slingshot or that rebound every now and then that they would get out, and we saw a miraculous goal here down in the forward pocket at the airport end where the ball was snapped in and a volley was kicked. But it was the simplicity almost of their goals compared to the dour just banging it in from the Dogs where they actually couldn't score, and that was evident in the second quarter where they didn't actually score a goal.
The uncontested 147 to 231, the Bulldogs. So that's 90 more uncontested. So they just couldn't manufacture, couldn't get it to where they needed to, albeit the amount of time that they had with the outside football to get it in there. So,
by the way, Sam Holman is the older cousin of Nick. He's just texted us. Henry from Melbourne says, great call. Enjoyed Darwin this week. Thank you. 0437 774 774. Gold Coast 13-6, 84 over the Western Bulldogs 11-11, 77. Essendon 14-12, 96 over West Coast 6-10, 46.
As you normally do, Q, the players that don't get the miles into their legs, they go back out onto the ground. But we just saw then, Mitch Hannon, he was heading out to do the extra work, and he's being told to boot off and get off the oval.
Because kick to kick's on. That's why. Right. I don't think they want the players to be jostled by members of the public.
Well, I think at other ovals when that happens, they rope it off. So you might have the centre of the ground or the square and things like that. But yeah, it was just down there for a couple of minutes. They were trying to negotiate to get onto the ground and they've been booted off.
Got rid of him. Individuals. Raul 29. He's had 23 contested possessions in 29 disposals. I do not know what the record or percentage of contested ball to overall stats for someone who's got more than 25. That's got to be up there.
And 7 tackles,
he had
16 clearances, 7 inside 50s.
That is 29 disposals, of which 23 were contested. 16 of them were at the coalface and a clearance. He kicked the ball inside 57 times. He gained 702 metres.
Joel's got the votes tonight too.
No, I don't, Jamal. I don't have the votes because last time I did this, I gave votes to someone, and then when I walked away, someone said every other commentator of this game gave 3 votes to this bloke, and you didn't even get him in your top 3.
Crossy's listening at home. Hopefully he's with us calling next week. He's just sent me a text saying, I didn't see this, but apparently Jones and Casbolt swapped jumpers at the end of the game. A couple of old Blues teammates.
I did see Casbolt. He did have his jumper off down at the end here, but I wasn't sure that they actually changed them.
I like that in football, and I saw it a couple of weeks ago. Jack Rewalt and Tom Hawkins swapped jumpers. I know at the end of different careers that I sort of saw finish up, you saw players do that. And it's nice because I think the camaraderie between the clubs is getting closer and closer. You know, Gemma, we were talking earlier in the call about blokes who were a bit scary, you know, because when we played, and, 15, 20 years ago, it was pretty rough and tough. Here, we've seen the bump taken out of the game. We've seen sling tackles come in so that it's less and less dangerous in the sense of getting hurt in AFL. You certainly don't see anyone lining you up from the other side of the pack and running through, as Roo did to me a couple of times and popped my AC joint. Thanks, Roo. That was fun. Still got a popped AC. But then this camaraderie is there, right? It's a test of will and a test of strength each week. And I think tonight we saw that. We saw the Dogs come out. It was a real test for the Suns. Gemma, you were saying, oh, geez, I've tipped the Suns and they're 3-2 at the moment.
Yeah.
They willed themselves back into the contest. They worked their ass off. Matty Rao, number one, and they just pushed and pushed and pushed. A little bit of silk, a little bit of cream on top with Lukosius, and here they are. They come out with a 7-point win. Oh, sorry, more than 7 points in the end, wasn't it?
No, 7.
7
it was. Yeah, I think I got the score line wrong on the siren, but then had the margin right. I don't know how you do that, but then quickly readjusted. Yes, 13-6-84 to 11-11-77. So the Suns, Adelaide here next week, then a bye, then Carlton at the MCG after that. It continues that any time a senior coach decides not to be around, they'll link them to the Suns until they can make finals, and that's just the lot of Stuart Dew and the club at the moment. But it probably in that conversation, are we fueling a fire that's not there by saying it's timely? It's just timely for a club that needs to stay relevant in the race for the 8. They're going to have to get there in the next couple to probably prove the best of their group, but they've got to stay relevant in the chase for the 8. That's the big thing.
Well, the only thing I do feel for Stewie Dew, and you talk about welfare, and we spoke about this with Charlie, on the radio up here yesterday, is that you can't just keep pulling it out and potting this coach. Like, he's actually trying to craft a way and get a job done, and yet people from a distance are saying, right, here's the bloke. I mean, imagine if you were targeting a player like that. It's just... I get really... And you've got to be careful what you wish for. If you go back to a club that we're talking earlier about, Carlton, like Brett Ratton was their best performing coach at that particular time, and our beloved Mick Malthouse became available on the ABC, and he goes in there and he wasn't able to get what he wanted. And then they've had this multiple coaches go through there, and it's so difficult. Like, so he's a young coach. He's going, put the right structure and people around him and let him do his job.
And I think you're right, Gemma. It's about the right structure. It's having the right people, having the right culture. And it took Damien Hardwick, because he's the coach that's now become available. 300 games and 3 premierships. All of a sudden, he's available. He's given himself 12 weeks off, right? So if he had kept coaching through the year, he'd be exhausted by the end. He wouldn't take on another job next season. Whereas now he's giving himself 3 months, maybe 4 months off before he then has to switch back into footy mode. He may be interested in a job. Someone like that, or Mick Malthouse or Alistair Clarkson, as he was last season, the currency is so high for those guys, and clubs are so desperate for success. So instead of putting the right people in, creating the right culture, and that's what Hardwick did at Richmond, but it took him 5 or 6 years, we go for a quick fix. We go for the sugar hit, and then... most of the time, what happens? Falls flat.
I've been there from the start, and the problem's not who's coaching the footy team. It's been the player managers getting their kids out of there as soon as they can.
Yep.
And we've seen the co-captains of the club become premiership players for Richmond and Melbourne. Stephen May, Tom Lynch, keep mentioning them, Dion Prestia, Josh Caddy. How many of them have left and become premiership? They're good players. They're recruiting the right players. They just can't keep them.
Yeah, the Giants similar.
Gary Ablett going back to Geelong. Exactly. So let's hear the Suns sing the song in the rooms here at Marara, having prevailed by 7 points. And they'll stay here for the week and prepare for Adelaide in the same time slot, Saturday night game. Repeating, Essendon's beaten West Coast by 50, 14-12, 96-6, 10-46. Suns by 7 here. Charlie King's come from the boundary to join us as well after a good night at the footy, Charlie.
I love the game. It was a fantastic game. I looked in the eyes of one of those security guards who blocked me at the gate when I wanted to walk out on the ground, and I thought, no, I don't think so. and I think he was thinking, good choice, my friend.
You're not at your fighting fit as best currently, Charlie. I mean, I'm a bit over my playing weight. I think you're just a little bit under your playing weight.
I didn't want him to tackle me. No, I just want to say, I know you were going for Jones, Liam Jones. I thought he had a fantastic game.
He have a good
really happy with that. I thought he was terrific. But I'll tell you what, I reckon Charlie Ballard was fantastic as well at the other end of the ground.
And Sam Collins, those two, I think it was the contested marks, intercept marks, that repelled the Bulldogs as well. They're big guys. Although Jamar Ugelhagen took a number of marks, they weren't clunking him. But conversely, we've got those two blokes in the back line actually taking strong marks. And then everyone in the Suns just gets half a second to think, gets 2 seconds to go the other way and set up. And the Bulldogs weren't able to keep it in their forward line because clunk, clunk, clunk. Liam Jones was good though, Charlie.
He was.
Who's going to give the votes?
Well, I've got them written down now. So
they're professional. Professional. I'm just an amateur.
But I'm looking at Charlie Ballard. He ended up with 5. Sam Collins with the 5. But Liam Jones 10 marks. So I'm assuming that probably 8 or 7 of those would have been genuinely intercept and if not contested marks all the way through.
He had 547 metres gained with his 14 disposals, Liam Jones.
He repelled them off half-back, and sometimes, we watch a game of footy and we don't notice someone who had 35. Well, they didn't notice Greg Williams that day in 1993 when he had 45.
Absolute joke.
You wouldn't believe that.
Didn't get a Brownlow.
Luckiest Brownlow ever for Gavin Wanganeen.
Looks like I've just picked off a scab when I saw there. Yeah. Sorry, Quentin. But Quentin, Liam Jones, with a small number of possessions, actually was repelling the ball. He's getting, 500 or 600 metres gain.
547 metres gain from 14 kicks.
It's a really solid game at centre-half back. And I just love his story. I love his journey because when a guy is maligned at a football club, when he changes positions, he changes clubs, he sort of remakes himself a bit.
Swims upstream and goes play second-tier footy in Queensland.
Yeah, and then comes back and is able to do that. I just really like that. I think that shows the quality of the character, and he hasn't had it all his way, and here he is. Yep, they've lost, but he's given 100%, and he's doing it week after week in the toughest competition.
But isn't it painful for Carlton supporters to look at him doing so well? You want him to do well, but Holman, Casbolt and him, they're all good players. There's plenty of room in Carlton right now for them.
Charlie's just put one in the solar plexus before we... Look, I've got 90 seconds before going to the highlights, Jamo. We better get these votes.
All right, we'll pump this out. So I'll go Liam Jones. I'm going to give him 1 vote.
Oh, yes, got one.
For sure. And apologies to Nick Holman, who had the 10 tackles, only 12 disposals. His defensive work was outstanding. Marcus Bonapelli, he had also 10 tackles, but he didn't make it. Hugh.
Okay.
2 votes, Jack Lukosius. Outstanding up forward, wasn't it? 2, 5 goals, real target, 4 of those in the second. But, of course, spoke about him glowing. Matty Rowell, 3 votes. Outstanding game by him tonight to drag the Gold Coast across the line.
3 to Rowell, 2 to Lukosius, 1 to Jones. Imagine if he had just a little bit more help at the coalface. Anderson's doing his bit. Swallow continues to stand up. He did his bit in the last quarter. But, boy, Matt Rowell, he is a game-changing player, and now that was his 50th game tonight. He, of course, had that big injury just as he was hitting the start of his career, but outstanding contribution tonight. 3 to Rowell, 2 to Lukosius, 1 to Jones. Gold Coast 13-6-84 to the Bulldogs 11-11-77. And over in the West, it was Essendon, 14 goals, 12-96 over West Coast. 6 goals, 10-46. So the round will conclude tomorrow with 3 games. It's the Tigers and the Power at the MCG, the Magpies and the Kangas at Docklands, and the Crows against the Lions at the Adelaide Oval. No matter where you're listening to us, all calls are available via the ABC Listen app. Thanks, crew. Catch you next week for the majority of you.
Outstanding calling, Q, on your own tonight.
Good on you. Here are the highlights.
We look forward to Rob Cross back next week. Good luck to the Tigers, and Andrew McWalter, who's coaching his first senior game. He's going to coach the Tigers into the finals. Watch this.
Well done. You remember for Johnson, you're taking over the end of my broadcast.
Well,
The only one that can cross the floor here is me. Jonesy, fade up the highlights, please. Goodbye. Snaps his second. The Suns have kicked 3 in a row, and Gold Coast lead the Western Bulldogs by 11 points. To Atkins, kicks to the pocket, Ainsworth. He snaps on goal, and it's towed through on the volley by Lukosius. Wow, that's his third. He's kicked all 3 goals in this term. Set shot for Jack Lukosius. This can be a problem for him, but not tonight. Pumps his fist as soon as he strikes it with his right boot. Bit of a startle from Caleb Daniel. Strikes it on his right boot. He claps it through. He's happy with it. And so the Dogs fans behind the goals. And a much-needed major for the Bullies. McRae to Scott. 2 steps, bang off his left from 50 to the goal line. Norton marks and is paid the goal. He played on. There was a quick sort of dink on the boot. Oh, did I push him away from it? No. Says fair call. Important goal for the Bulldogs. Norton's first of the night. Left foot kick from Ugle Hagan after a stutter on the approach, but he's kicked the goal. Dogs have kicked 3-1 in this third term. Rao with the clearance, kick the half-board, right by Lukosius. Open 50, hands it to Holman, 50 out, bounces on 40, runs to 30, got a push in the back for good measure, but still kicks the goal. And he doubles up in game 100. He's on the approach, Lukosius strikes it with his right. Doesn't move. Handball for Jack Lukosius in Darwin. Just to the left, Cody Waitman, 40 metres out. He likes it as soon as he hits it. And the Bulldogs kick a goal after the 3/4 time siren to set up a cracking final term at Marara in Darwin. Wits Roves for the Suns, hands it to Long, kicks it in the direction of Casbolt. He busts the pack. Holman Roves hands it to Rao, 40 out, has a shot. He's had a big night, and he's kicked a big goal. Williams for his second. He kicks the goal and keeps the Dogs in it. No angle to speak of. 45 out, Ugle Hagan. He's kicked it. He's got a third. Taps it down Rao though. Roves it, hands it to Powell. 60 out. Kicks back to Lukosius in the square. Can't mark. Says play on. Road by Humphrey. Here's Humphrey to put the Suns 8 points clear. Siren sounds. Suns win in Darwin. They end the Doggies' 5-game winning streak, and they keep their top 8 aspirations alive.